Hello! Welcome back to Actual Play UK. We have another fantastic session for you tonight, guys. We're going to be playing a game of D&D. I know, everyone's favourite RPG. But you're getting all the cool ones as well on the other streams. I'm just very basic, and I'll continue running D&D until somebody physically stops me. Tonight we have a very special game of D&D, and I will tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to introduce myself and the rest of our wonderful cast here. If you've been watching any of our streams before, you've probably seen my face. I am Jordan of the Modified Rule podcast and one of the founders of Actual Play UK. And I'm going to be honest, I do very little for Actual Play UK other than manage the Discord. John, who I have talked about a lot and you would have seen on other streams, does most of the heavy lifting for us. He's hidden in the background here today, making sure this all runs smoothly. But with me today, I have some of the UK's top TTRPG talent and apparently one of their pets. And I'm going to introduce them for you now. And then I'm going to let them talk a little bit about themselves. I'm joined by Chloe, Chris, Ben, and Bardic Knock. And I know there's an order on your screen, but I'm going to go by the one on mine. So Chloe, do you want to start with yourself? Tell us about yourself and what it is you do.
Yeah, hello. I'm Chloe. She, her pronouns. I'm from the podcast Deck of Many Aces, most notably, which is an actual play D&D podcast made with actual asexuals and aromantics. So that's us. I also stream on Twitch, and I compose music. I'm an actor. I'm a singer. So hire me, please. All of those things. I don't have any time, but here we are. I'm also on a Rendezvous with Destiny, which is a Bite Marks actual play podcast, which is a TTRPG all about werewolves. It's really great. We're all terrible people who hate each other, and it's great. So yeah, that's what I'm about.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't there another David Bowie themed one coming up?
Oh yes! Oh my god, I completely forgot. It's been basically a year since we recorded it, so I completely forgot about it. Yes, I am in Bowie's and Spelljammer, which comes out mid-October, I believe, which is a D&D Spelljammer campaign, but we're all playing different versions of David Bowie. And I learned, I was the Goblin King. I learned how to do all of the makeup and stuff. I glued my eyebrows down for that. And it's really awesome. It has Jeremy Cobb was one of our players. Kim Richards guests on it. It's really cool. So that's on the T4C Dragon Network. So that's also on YouTube. They have their own website, that kind of thing, as well. And that's where you can find that.
I only wanted to bring that up so that I could voice how absolutely jealous I am that you got to take part in that. It sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see it next month. Going next on my screen, we're going with Bardic. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Bardic. They, them pronouns. Everyone makes mistakes. So no worries. You can find me on the internet, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all as the Bardic Knock. I'm not doing a whole lot at the moment because I'm both lazy and very tired. But I try and stream stuff here and there. Either I'm DMing various tabletop role-playing games, or sometimes I just dig out really old vintage PlayStation 1 games that I have played on repeat since I was a child because I'm very autistic. I think that's me. Apologies if you hear dogs. There are 3 female chihuahuas that are in season, and a male chihuahua who really wants to be there with them.
That is a visual and a half. Moving on, Chris, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi there, I'm Chris, he, him. I am part of the Adventurers Anonymous podcast where I play everybody's favorite sad boy gnome, Tatty Bojangles, the gnome with PTSD and a bunch of problems. Thank God that Bardic went before me, because boy, do I feel inadequate. All the stuff that Chloe's got going on, even before you mentioned Bowie's and Spelljammer. My God in heaven, I've had to make a quick note of everything you were saying about that, because I cannot wait to see that. That's all me.
And finally, Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. You can find me, he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky and YouTube under my name, Ben Newborn. I am a game designer. I make rules-like games, including Cybertopia and Overgrown. And I have been hosting a Cybertopia actual play podcast, which we are coming up to the grand finale of in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, check that one out.
Phenomenal. So we've got some fantastic talent here, guys. Make sure you do check all of these folks' fantastic work out. But not right now because we've got a stream to get on with. It should be noted, this is a pre-record, so I would normally try and dip in and take note of things that are happening in the comments. I can't because you're not here. We're doing this from the past. Ooh. It's not nearly as impressive as doing it from the future, but it's still technically time traveling. So before we get on with the actual, I don't know why I said that.
We could pretend to know what the comments are saying.
Yeah, every so often we'll just say, thanks very much, Goblin.
Random name here. Bad idea, Chris. Bad idea.
So before we get on with the actual stream, as I mentioned, this is a special one, and I say special because I didn't write it. We are going to be using a upcoming setting created by the wonderful Kimberly Polly called The Tales Were True. Tales Were True is going to be a 300+ page 5th edition supplement intended for GMs and players of all ages and experience levels, and includes complete settings covering levels 1 to 14. It's made for fans of high fantasy and British Isles folklore, because see, that's the whole point. The tales were true. All of the folk tales, the myths and legends you heard about. I say myths and legends, it's mostly like folk tales and the stories you would have heard, Mother Goose and the nursery rhymes and things like that. But not only have they created this setting and this adventure, they've also created new subclasses, playable races, expanded the foraging and crafting rules, based on actual historical items from the UK and the surrounding areas, and so much, much more. Those of you who do have listened to Modified Rule, and if you haven't, you should do, we have recently put out some episodes where we recorded a low-level couple of sessions with Kimberly where we ran a bit of The Tales Were True, and we had an absolute blast, and I was just super keen to run it for these guys in Actual Play UK. Decided to give myself a challenge. We're going for a little higher level. We're going to be playing a level 8 adventure. I say adventure, this is one continuous story with lots of little side quests. I have just picked a bit that I think we can record over 2 sessions. We'll find out how good I am at selecting my timings later on. But I'm super excited to play this. You'll see some amazing art when we jump into the game, created by LEJ. You can find LEJ on Instagram and Twitter at LEJ Art, I believe it just is. I'm just double checking that now. Yep, LEJ Art, that's ELLIEJAYART. And you can find Kimberly Polly on Instagram and Twitter, and that's just Kimberly Polly, KIMBERLYPAULEY. And on Instagram, it is The Tales Were True, or just Tales Were True as their tag. You can find all them on social medias. Highly suggest checking it out. They are currently doing lots of playtests. I think they're still taking on people to be in some of the playtest groups, but check them out. We're super excited to see it come out. I'm a little bit more excited simply because, having been talking to Kimberly, I may have got to contribute a little bit. I've contributed one of these subclasses for the Druid. Unfortunately, nobody here thought that subclass was cool enough to play, so you'll have to go and find out about that somewhere else. But that said, we're going to get into the game. Now, this being The Tales Were True, we are of course going to start with Once Upon a Time. Once upon a time, there were a group of 4 travelers, all a little odd in their own ways. Well, very odd in their own ways. They all had their own stories to tell, but we aren't here to listen to those tales right now. No, we're here for the story that they're writing together. But every story, of course, has a beginning, and ours began some weeks ago when this unlikely trip found their way together, guided by some unknown force, where they met a kindly old woman who guided them on their way, Mother Goose. She gave them a little nudge and told them that their destinies lie in the capital city of Albion, Braun. And she set them off on their way, but this time, together. They've since travelled all over Albion, where our story is set, seeing sights they'd never seen, cities full to bursting with strange and interesting things, farms full of talking animals, merchant caravans and running gingerbread men. They met people of all walks of life, their stories all intermingling with their own, until they eventually arrived here, where our story takes place, at Leerpool. Upon arrival, they were sent for by the city's mayor, their own story now preceding their travels, as if flying on the wings of a great white goose. So here, in the great and lively city of Leerpool, we rejoin our story once more. Once upon a time. Chloe, would you like to describe what your character looks like? And I said looks like, just tell us about them in general, not just what they look like. We're not all about
Absolutely.
appearances here.
So I'm playing Andromeda, who is a druid and also a half dryad. So she has green colored skin and incredibly bushy green hair that's kind of more reminiscent of twigs than anything else. She has little elderberries kind of woven throughout the hair, and you think they look like they're woven, but on closer inspection, they're actually just her hair. She is relatively heavy built, not like big old barbarian strong muscles or anything, but enough to kind of get around in forests and whatnot, and wears incredibly shabby clothing. It's kind of cobbled together from various bits of moss, mostly. Also maybe the occasional feather or something, but it's mostly moss. She's quite fond of moss. And yeah, that's Andromeda.
Lovely. Right. Bardic. And before I let you begin, I'm only bringing this up now because I know that Chloe didn't take one, but as part of the setting for The Tales Were True, obviously we've already mentioned there were the different subclasses and new races. There's also an optional section you can take as part of your character creation called curses, and I believe Bardic is the first of our players to have taken a curse. So would you please tell us about your character and the curse they suffer from?
10-foot tall person covered head to toe in iron chains. Jack doesn't talk because of the curse that he has. But yeah, just big, brutish. There's not a whole lot to him. You can't really figure out what his deal is, aside from, he's big and scary and just doesn't choose not to talk, but you don't know that. Just this person who just never talks.
Very stoic.
Yeah, let's go with that.
No words. Lovely. Okay, then Chris.
Yes. Ricky is a hag child, so he was the son of a hag mother out in the woods casting spells, doing witchy stuff. And he managed to get away from his hag mother, but as a penance, shall we say, for escaping from his hag mother, he was cursed with ugliness. And he has, in terms of appearance, he has kind of like very, very rat-like features in his face and kind of in his hands and feet a little bit. You can kind of tell by looking at him that he's basically, before he met the rest of these characters, he's been living on the streets a long time. He's got the kind of like dark matted fur on his face. He looks quite, I wouldn't say emaciated, but he's he's fairly skinny. And he tends to wear a kind of long traveler's cloak most of the time and tries to keep his face hidden as best he can. Just because, I don't know, the common folk probably don't have the nicest reactions to this rat man, essentially.
No, I don't think many people are very welcoming to a lanky part man, part rat. But finally, we have Ben.
Hi, so I'm playing Shaul Godwin. He is a half cloud giant, and apparently half giants are extremely rare in this setting. But what makes him even rarer is that he is a seventh child, a half cloud giant, which means he is the seventh child of the seventh child in his family. And the reason half giants are so rare is because you need special magic to change the size of one of the partners when creating a half giant. So that has happened 7 times in the previous generation and 7 times in his generation. And he is that 7th child, which bestowed upon him the gifts of a clockwork sorcerer. and he is a great healer as well. So he had lots of people from his childhood coming to him to have him sort out their problems with his gifts. And he is very inconspicuous. A 8 foot tall, blue-ish kind of tone to their skin, and he has a very distinctive birthmark on his bald head, which is kind of like a Rorschach kind of image that is constantly changing. It is like basically stars that are moving around on his skull.
Very cool. Well, this motley crew of strange individuals all arrives together at the city of Leerpool. As you come near to the city, you see a large, also I've been saying city, town, a large bustling town nestled along the banks of the Mersey River. Its cobblestone streets wind through the timber-framed buildings, their thatched roofs blending into one another in a palette of browns. Rising above the rooftops, the spires of the towers and temples devoted to various gods pierce the sky. The air is filled with the aroma of sizzling street food and the clamour of merchants. However, you don't have much time to take this in, as no sooner have you stepped foot through the wall of the town than an out of breath guard races up to you. Hello, sorry. Mayor Dick Whittington sends his warmest greetings and requests your presence at the Guildhall at your earliest convenience. He's keen for a chat, and I've made myself dizzy by breathing far too quickly. That was me, not the character. The guards would point you down the city, or points down the road, and you can see a little ways away this quite nice looking building amongst all the rest, and indicates that this must be the Guildhall. It seems that your arrival has been preceded by your notoriety. Would anyone be objectionable to heading towards the Guildhall?
No, I think Andromeda in particular would be going very quickly towards the Guildhall with the knowledge that we all stand out rather ostentatiously.
Oh yes, you guys are by far and away the weirdest looking people here by a long shot.
I meant to ask, like, how, in terms of, like, the makeup of, or, like, the people that we've seen of this town so far, like, how, like, in terms of how we look, our kind of ancestry and stuff, do we stand out a lot in this town?
People are literally stopping and watching you pass. Like, people are in the middle of tasks, are literally just stopping and just...
Whatever the...
I think...
Yeah, whatever the, like, non-drawstring hoodie version of, like, pulling the drawstrings down on my hood as much as possible to, like, cover my face.
I'll say this much, all of you who wish to can make an insight check to see if you can get a read on the people who are looking at you.
Yeah.
Go on then.
I'll do that.
It's just as terrible as I thought it was.
Let's see who's rolling hot tonight.
Ooh.
12.
That is I have a +5 in insight, so that is a 22.
Ooh.
I got a 3.
I got a 20.
Okay, well, I would say with those of you above 20, you've definitely got like an immediate read on these people. None of them are like hostile. You definitely pick out one or two who are like marking you as possible targets. You see some of these ones in like heavy leathers and furs and sort of watching you as you pass. Maybe even one's picking his teeth with a dagger, you know, the cliches. You get there maybe marking you as targets. You're strangers, you're from out of town, you might make an easy mark. You see a couple of the ones who appear to have more than 2 brain cells going, they actually kind of look a little bit dangerous, let's leave that to somebody else. But most of the common folk are definitely watching you with interest. Nobody is fearful that you can see. Maybe a few are a little bit suspicious of why a group of weirdos have just turned up, but nobody seems outright hostile. It's more a case of, they're weird, let's get a look at them. But I would say as well, with your, just with the insight check, I would say there's probably 1 or 2 people you do notice do spend a little bit longer following you than the others. Like, most people stop and watch you pass, but you do notice 1 or 2 people follow you for a little bit from around the crowds, but they all sort of peter away as you make your way through. And that's exactly what you do. You work your way through the city, through the vast crowds, the smell of the river hanging heavy in the air, and you pass several taverns, a market area, several shops, until eventually you stand in front of the Guildhall. This building stands out amongst the plain wood and stone houses. The walls look like they're made of blue marble. Elaborate carvings and gargoyles, gutters decorate the outside. There's even some greenery, a welcome respite in a city of wall-to-wall houses and shops. I'm going to drop everyone onto the Guildhall map, just so you get an idea of what you're looking at. Inside, the furniture is plush. Not, ostentatious, but expensive, but well used. You can tell this is a place of business as much as it is one of luxury. As you come in, there's a door immediately to your right, which is open, and you see several clerks working in what is obviously some sort of staff office. And there is a closed door to the northeast and directly north of you. The clerks sort of acknowledge your presence, but no one comes out to speak to you.
As soon as we're in the door, I sort of take my head down, just go, ugh, I hate crowds. Yeah.
Once you start to sort of reveal your actual appearance, you see the clerks take another, oh, and you see one of them bustles towards you. There we go, yep. A halfling sort of bustles out, very well to do, very well dressed, and sort of busts up to whoever would be at the front, I imagine. It's like, you must be the adventurers that have been sent for, am I right?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. The mayor has been waiting for you, and he gestures to the door to the northeast and says, please, through this way, and sort of heads over and opens the door for you. Inside, so up, just to ping it on your map, up here in the northeast, for those of you who follow, you see, as he opens the door, a comfortably appointed room with a desk, 2 chairs, and a cat bed in front of the fireplace. Standing by one of the chairs, sort of just getting up after hearing the door open, you see a man in his early 30s, human, with an easygoing air about him. He's dressed well, again, functionable clothes. You've all probably at some point in your travels met with many different people, including those of sort of noble stature who dress for appearances. And while this man in front of you is dressed well, they're all functional, well worn. You can see they have been tended and mended over the years and have probably lasted a good number of years. But he does wear about his neck the chain of office of the mayor. And as you guys would step into the room, he would, the adventurers, please, come in.
I think at this point is when Ricky takes his hood down. I think the kind of positive reception that Andromeda got from the clerk outside, and now that we're kind of well into this very nicely appointed place, he's now just very slowly taking his hood down and just looking about a little bit, probably eyeing up the cat bed a little bit as well now.
Now that you're in the room, you can see in the cat bed sits a cat. And when I say sits, I don't mean like sitting on its hindquarters. I mean sat with one leg crossed over the other, hands resting in its lap. And you see it's actually wearing a leather vest and some knee-high boots. And as it comes in, you see its tail flicking behind it. But it's very much sat upright and at attention and listening.
It's definitely a cat and not a tabaxi.
It's definitely a cat. He's only about sort of 2.5, 3 foot tall.
Now,
Little
Jordan,
black
you can't possibly know about my cat Winston, but
I don't.
You have described his vibe.
Oh, excellent.
to a T.
Well, I hope he speaks with a French accent.
Always. Spoiler alert.
Well, now we're going to speak to the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume the cat is the mayor.
Obviously. I mean, I was going to ask, how high are the doorways?
And the doors are full height. It's like this is a humanoid building, and as I described, the human is the one wearing the chain of office that we all sort of recognize as the universal symbol of mayor.
Being a big boy, I assume Jack would normally have to duck to walk through human-sized doors. I just like the idea that Jack doesn't. Instead, just keeps walking.
I think you mentioned as part of your character creation, you have like a 20 strength.
Yup.
Yeah, you don't have to duck.
Oh,
just
dear.
timber splits, and just the top of the door comes away, and you see the mayor go, well.
Yeah,
Jack immediately goes and crouches next to the cat and just holds a finger out as if say, "Can I pet you?"
Enchanté. And he sort of shakes your finger. You are a big one, aren't you, sir? A pleasure. The name is Thomas Mousecourage. You can call me Tommy. A man of few words, I see. I also said French. I think I'm going more Antonio Banderas. I'm not
Yeah.
against it.
Antonio Banderas was the vibe.
Excellent.
Well, see, now you should have made the pun. It's a Catalan accent.
Do you know what's really irritating? I literally just got back from France, staying in the region of Catalonia.
So Shaw will come in behind Jack and like see the doorway get destroyed, and also has to duck down to get through, but just immediately just kind of picks up the pieces that have fallen down and casts mending to kind of put them back into place. It's like, sorry about my friend. It usually takes a bit longer for people to call upon my services, but I suppose you need your place fixing up immediately.
Yes. Much appreciated. We would have sent for someone, of course. You are guests, so we don't expect you to carry out work until we have discussed our contracts, as it were. But please, come, sit. And you see at this point, the clerks who had previously disappeared after you'd begun entering the room, both of the ones that you would have seen through the door come back, and they start bringing in chairs for all of you to sit down. As you do see, there are only like 2 in this room, other than the one behind the desk. And they set up several chairs around the room so you can all sit and discuss matters, as it were. But I didn't get a chance to do it, Chris, but would you have been paying attention to the mayor's reaction whenever you took your hood off?
I think probably yes. I think he's. I think Ricky's got used to like, even like when he took down the hood here, he was probably conscious of people's reactions when he did so.
Cool. Can you give me an insight check then, please?
Yes. That is a 24.
I rolled a 23. You see that while his face is like stoic, there isn't a flicker of sort of outward emotional response. You do see, as he sees you take the hood back, there's just an ever so slight widening of the eyes. Just enough that you've recognized that while he has obviously schooled his composure and controlled his composure, there's still a reaction there. But you've become used to this. You've become used to the fact that this isn't something people can control. This is the effects of the curse. This is always going to be the case. But you recognize that he is at least trying.
Yeah. I suppose deep down, everybody's the same, really. I think probably until the extra chairs were brought in, if Ricky had seen that there was only 2 chairs in here, he probably would have like just gone and sat down on the floor. Maybe just like leaned against, just like leaned against the wall, just maybe next to the cat bed.
Does he try to sit on the cat bed?
No. He may be very young, and he may be cursed, but he understands the relationship between cats and rats.
As you say, never mind the bed being occupied. Cat, rat, maybe not a good idea.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So as you all are seated and getting comfortable, the mayor sits down and introduces himself properly. I'm sure you're all wondering why we've called you here, but allow me to introduce myself first. I am Dick Whittington, Mayor of Leerpool. This is my good friend, as he has already introduced himself, Tommy Mousecourage. I would not be where I am today were it not for his assistance. But that's as it were. Please, your names. Silence.
Absolute silence while we all wait for somebody to say.
Hi, I'm Shaw. I'm guessing you've already heard of me though, so yeah.
He's the friendly one. Andromeda. I'm mostly undressing the cat, by the way.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine. I'm sorry, I'm making a face because I just opened a drink and it went everywhere.
Oh no!
I have
You
nothing.
were playing
to
it
put
off
up
so
with.
smoothly. Yeah. Ricky turns to the mayor and just says, "I'm Ricky. Hi."
And then he just.
That's
An
Jackie
interesting
don't
name.
speak.
That would explain it. Of course, I have heard of all of you, but it is nice to observe the formalities on occasion. But that said, you are welcome here in Leerpool. But unfortunately, I must admit I have called you here to ask your help in something that has been plaguing our city.
Yes, it always goes this way.
Well, of course, that is the way of heroes, is it not? To be called upon in times of great need, and from what I've heard of your escapades, you are nothing short of heroes.
No, we're not sure.
Tommy on the cat
Ricky-
bed. Tommy on the cat
Ricky
bed.
Ricky has like the immediate emotional whiplash of being like perking up when someone refers to him as a hero, and then as soon as someone's talking about being short, he's like, "Oh, okay, back to normal."
But of course, your tales are as tall as yourselves, or so I've heard. But unfortunately, we have an issue that needs resolved. You see, and at this he turns and stands, claps his hands behind the back, and looks out the window towards the city. Our city is plagued by an infestation. See, that's actually how I came into my position. I, with the help of Tommy, of course, the cat, so at this point leaning back, filing some of its claws, nods. With Tommy's help, we cleared the city of an infestation of rats. No offense, he says to Ricky. Overrunning the city, they were, and with Tommy's help, we pushed them back, defeated the horrible rat queen, and brought the city back to order. Now, unfortunately, we are seeing an infestation of a different kind. The criminal kind. His face gets stern and hard. Criminal gang has crept in through the shadows and made their insidious roots within the city, and unfortunately they are prospering here in our busy and flourishing city. And while I am mayor, I cannot take direct action against them as I once would have done with sword and might. Instead, I have to rely on the bureaucracy of the city. Unfortunately, they don't have to follow the same rules. That is where you come in. Would you take it upon yourselves to rescue our city from this shadow that looms over it and clings to its underside, the underbelly of the city, as you will? Will you free us of their tyranny and allow us to flourish and grow once more?
Are you saying you'd like us to bring back the rats to chase out the criminals?
That's a really
just-
good idea, actually.
It's just like a stony face. Like... Unfortunately, the rats are dead, as was the rat queen that we drove off. I should be more specific. We killed them.
Jack pats sorry, just pats on the back in an attempt to be soothing.
There is a moment where it's like a flash of emotion across his face that's like, I have no actual connection to actual rats, but also at the same time I am quite young and it is quite raw and it's quite emotional all at the same time.
The idea that rats once ruled the city. You could have been one of them.
You could have been their king.
Oh, I could have been royalty. Yeah.
In fact, actually, all of you can give me a perception check just for giggles.
There's rats in the room in there.
So good at these. I'm fantastic.
11 from me.
10.
13.
Hang on. Oh, I have even better perception. Maths. 25.
Oh my gosh.
I rolled the same number again.
Andromeda, you see whenever the mayor, Dick Whittington, starts talking about the driving off the rats, that Tommy, as he's like filing his nails, you see he starts to like do that thing that cats do where the claws come in and out. You see him just almost imperceptibly lick his lips.
Is there any, like, would I have any indication about this cat, whether it's naturally, like, talking and, like, wearing clothes and being kind of human-like, or is it,
Yeah.
like,
You
a
can
magic
give me,
spell or something?
You can give me either a nature check or an arcana check, whichever you have a higher proficiency in. Or
It will
proficiency at
probably
all.
be nature.
You'd be surprised. I know a lot of people who play druids that don't take nature because it's an intelligence stat.
I'm not sure. I'm rolling in Roll20. I've rolled another 17.
That's 3 in a row. I would highly
might
suggest refreshing
roll
the page because sometimes
a different die.
Roll20's random number generator is not random.
I'm just going to roll a real dice instead.
Yeah, in the first season of Modified Roll, almost every single roll I made in Roll20, because we would always roll at advantage, so we just rolled the 2, and if you weren't rolling around, you pick the first one. Every single time, my double roll would roll the same number. And we could not get it to stop until there was a Roll20 update. It was very weird. Anyway,
Okay,
what was your
it is
real
an
dice?
18.
Okay. This is magic as shit. Like, this is not a real cat. This is some sort of enchantment. You maybe get the... Was it nature or arcana did you roll?
Nature.
Yeah, this was a cat. Like, you can tell nature-wise. Like, you can tell from, like, the shape, the joints. Like, it's not meant to stand up straight. It does that cat thing where, you see cats stand up, that if it does stand up, its front paws sort of do that a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless it physically controls them. Yeah, this was just a cat, and something magic has happened to it.
Okay. In that
In fact,
case...
all of you could make a history check to see if any of you know anything about Dick Winton.
Will you stop
and his
making
cat,
us do
Tommy?
intelligence rolls, please?
You know what's funny is, normally when I play, every other roll is a perception check, so this is just new ground for me. We've rolled like one of those.
At least got a 15 this time, so that's not bad.
I got
11.
a strong 8.
I got a 21.
Oh,
I'm doing so well.
and Jack?
11.
Oh, okay. With the 15, I think it was, that Ben, you got?
Yep.
You definitely have heard of this story. Like, Leerpool at one point was completely, like, overrun by rats. It wasn't so much that they ruled the city, it was just, like, infestation, like, taken up several notches. Like, you literally, the sort of thing, you walk out at night and you're going to stand on a rat because there's so many of them. So Dick came to the city looking to make his fortune and was sort of down in his luck, couldn't do anything, but at some point, through some turn of fortune, started driving all these rats out, and then was eventually rewarded for this. Andromeda, you would know, the full story was that he was actually approached by a fairy godmother who, without sort of enchanting him, like, he has no innate magic at all, enchanted his cat, Tommy, to give it the ability to speak, to talk, and this was able to help him over... for some reason, as well as being able to talk, it just made it really, really good at killing rats. And this was then how he sort of worked. I say like it's insidious, but he didn't work his way into power, but he was rewarded and eventually worked his way up to being mayor through this feat of driving out all of these rats. So yeah, cat is magic as shit, but just a cat.
Famous person getting into politics. That's
Never.
a new and unique thing that's never happened.
The heights
Surely
of
nothing
fantasy,
bad
people.
could come of it.
Yeah.
What's funny is I'm finding it really hard to describe him as just being like a good dude. Though every time I start to describe him, like, this sounds really insidious and really evil, but it's like, no, he was genuinely like, and like, for those unaware, for anyone watching maybe in the States, look up the story of Dick Whittington. We have a lot of our like pantomimes at Christmas are the story of Dick Whittington, and he is genuinely the hero of the story. I'm just not doing a good job of portraying that.
Well, pantomime won't help because Americans have no concept of pantomime.
Sorry,
Yeah.
pantomime is a version of stage.
Guys, we got a lot to get into. We need to define a lot of terms right now.
All right, let me
Let's
get my
go.
blackboard.
Yeah. In fact, I've got the whiteboard. I can do a
here we
quick
go.
diagram.
Right, we're going
Yeah.
to hand over to Chris for a few minutes. He's going to walk us through the history of pantomime, and then we're going to work our way up to the story of Dick Whittington,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then we can get on with the rest of this.
yeah.
So,
This has been a long time coming, guys.
strap in. So, Dick Whittington has asked you if this is something you'd be able to help with. Now we're going back to what we were talking about 15 minutes ago.
Well, Mr. Mayor, do you already have ideas of what you'd like us to do to achieve this feat?
Yes, actually, the criminal gang that we are referring to is called the Wolf's Head. They have a hideaway in the city. I know where it is based. Unfortunately, getting in has been the problem. All of the guards and all of my staff are known to the guild, but if a group of unknowns were to work their way in, they may have a better chance of infiltrating the guild and taking down the leader, a man by the name of Adam the Leper. But don't let the name put you off. He is not, in fact, a leper. He just has a thing. Lots of scars, pockmarking, and the like that sort of branded him with this nickname, which he is, for some reason, I believe, embraced because it means that people don't like to get close to him, which means it's much harder for them to kill him. But yes, he runs the guild with an iron fist, and he is slowly strangling the life out of the very city itself, unfortunately.
What exactly has this gang done?
Extortion, arson, thievery, banditry, murder, skullduggery.
I'm going to turn
And
over to
even-
Shul and go, and those are bad things, right?
Sometimes they can be used for good, but Mr. Mayor, I might suggest that
He's
if
like
you
going through the
wanted
list
us
again in his
to-
head. Arson? What? Skullduggery? What?
hey,
Yeah,
those things could be used against the criminal gang, you know?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I might suggest that if you wanted us to not be associated with the city's watch and whatnot, that you might not have made such a show of having us invited to your office.
Don't worry. I'm going to put on, as they say, as you called it yourself, a bit of a show, and indicate that you were invited here as a way of warning you not to cause any problems within the city. See, your countenance, at least, if not your names, are a little well known. Some of your escapades further out in Albion have reached the city. So it would not be unusual for me to call you here and to warn you off of doing anything untoward within the city. And if you were to have the mayor telling you off, that may even be a mark in your names with the guild.
Very
I
well.
also said mark in your names, which is not a saying I've ever heard before.
Well, I've never seen a door that Jack couldn't get through, so I'm sure we'll be fine getting into this hideout.
That
Sorry,
would be...
Mr. Mayor, what does skullduggery
Please, call me Dick.
mean? Sorry, Dick.
I don't like it when
We're
you
all
say it like
grown-ass
that.
adults.
told myself not to laugh, but I just
And
I
every
just
single
couldn't-
person did.
Every person did. Thank you very much.
It was the emphasis on the
I don't like the way you said that. No, I'm going to make a fool of myself if I got this wrong, but I believe skullduggery is just, like, picking up bodies, isn't it?
I'm going to Google now.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone goes to Google.
Like, I used to know.
I don't think we've done any digging up of bodies before.
Underhand, unscrupulous, or dishonest behavior or activities. There you go.
Yeah, it's just general
General
crime.
nastiness.
Yeah, I think Ricky, having lived on the streets for a long time, like hearing about like thievery and skullduggery, like it didn't really bother him. But like talking about arson and probably extortion a little bit as well has kind of like he's like, oh, these people actually are probably pretty bad.
Yes, I believe just recently they were caught stealing the bags off of little old women and pushing them down. Terrible people. But
Not very helpful.
Oh, okay.
But if you wish to infiltrate the guild, my good friend Tommy here will be able to help you gather a little bit more information. See, as I mentioned, one of the things that the guild have become quite known for in the city is extortion. They go into some of the various shops and merchants and comment on how flammable things within the shop are and how terrible it would be if something were to happen to them while making sort of winking motions and whatnot. So Tommy could take you to where he's aware that some of this activity has been rife of late, and you could hopefully get a little bit more information like that, because I believe from what Tommy has told me, there are multiple ways into the hideaway where their base is located. I should have mentioned they are based in a tavern. They have their sort of hideaway underneath the Thorny Paw, which is located a little north of here. To get into the actual hideaway, their base of operations, there are two entrances, one heavily guarded and the other, both I believe heavily guarded. One we are aware of, as we have had some of our men pay attention to the comings and goings, and another is more secretive. We're aware where it is, but not how to get through it.
How many people would you say are in this gang?
Well, unfortunately, we haven't been able to get a good count of them due to their constant movements, but within the tavern itself, we're aware that the majority of the patrons at any given time are probably members of the Thieves Guild themselves, and there could be anywhere from 10 to 15 up to 30 to 50 at any given day and time.
Jack could take them.
While I don't doubt it, I would rather that the city was intact when you were finished.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Jack lifts a hand, a single finger, a point, and goes and starts like pointing as it trying to ask what direction.
Well, if you would like to, are you asking for the location of the tavern or where you could find? Oh, I'm not sure I should tell you that until you've got some more information, because it sounds like you're just going to go straight there and fight people.
Jack's already standing up.
Wonderful.
I guess one way we could do this would be to go and extort one of those shops you talked about, and then they might invite us to join them.
I mean, that is certainly one way, I guess. But by all means, if that's what you wish to do, I can have Tommy here, as I say, take you into the market and show you where he has witnessed some of these goings on, at which point Tommy stands up, sort of dusts his vest off and sort of strikes a bit of a pose, feet out. Why, yes, I can take you and show you where I have seen the miscreants before.
I will follow you anywhere, sir.
Bear in mind, for you, he probably comes up to you about your shin. He is
bends
just a
right
cat.
down.
He is just a cat.
The new Starsky and Hutch.
But please, if you are ready, you can follow me. Do you have any other questions for Sir Whittington before we leave?
I assume there's some sort of payment for all of this, right?
Yes, of course. If you can help us with this, we will be able to reward you something from the town's treasury here. And he sort of like gestures through the doorway, and you see that other locked door that you haven't been through yet. We have several items of power and note in there that we would be more than happy to reward you with on completion of this quest.
You see, I'm not one for greed or anything, but we do have a lifestyle to sustain, if you understand.
Yeah.
Certain
Opens your
kinds
mouth
of
and
moss
you're
are
just-
quite rare. If you've got them in
It's
your
like-
treasury, I would
As
love
I Shield
that.
just opens their mouth and it's just like gold grills. But please, if that
Okay,
is
then.
everything, please follow me. Tommy heads out of the guild. And is there anything else you guys would like to do before you head off with Tommy?
As we're leaving out the door, I'm gonna like lean down next to Tommy and just go, blink twice if you're in pain, and like stare at him.
When he looks up, he's like, "My lady, I am perfectly fine." He does like a little kick and sort of like puts his feet out, just showing off his boots.
Andromeda like winces a little bit at the very unnatural movement of his leg.
Oh, it's very unnatural.
Oh,
But please, no, I am
Fine.
perfectly happy here with Dick Whittington. We have been good friends for as long as I can remember.
I have a question.
Yes.
DM question. Through sound, I can communicate with beasts and plants simple ideas
Yep.
using like gestures. And I want to see if the cat that is talking is the cat that is like the ordinary cat that has just been given speech, or whether it is like trapped inside.
Like a puppet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
sure.
say same thing again, but like, are you in pain? Kind of.
Yeah, I would say then just give me an insight check. So you're still communicating with them, you're just using a different method, and you're trying to get a read on them, like animal-wise.
Okay, that is a 16.
No, this is just the cat. It turns out that if this cat were a person, he would just be like this.
Fair enough. I think Andromeda like sticks weirdly close to him as we leave the room, and is just kind of staring and occasionally like poking. And
Please,
then
my lady, that is a little uncomfortable.
does not respond, keeps poking, and then eventually just kind of gives up and goes.
I think if you
And,
kept
like-
at it for long enough, he would just start poking you back.
Yeah.
It's fine. And then eventually we'll like back away a little bit towards like the back of the group. It's constantly like staring at him like
Peering around Jack, looking at him.
Yeah, she will be at the back of the group, just mending anything that Jack has destroyed along his way, just picking up the pieces.
Jack directly behind Tommy, just walking through doorways,
Yeah.
smashing things to bits.
Doorways, street lamps, anything, just unfazed.
I think
Oh,
when
it's a good
I think
thing
when
mending's a cantrip.
I think when Tommy
Yeah.
first gets up, like, and Ricky gets out of his chair, he does kind of like move a bit further back from him, like almost as if he's like anticipating this cat like attacking him or something. But then like once we kind of get into stride a little bit and we're outside, I think he kind of like he's still a little bit anxious, but he kind of relaxes his shoulders a little bit as he throws
Yeah.
the hood back up.
Since you're like paying a lot of attention to Tommy, give me an insight check on him. I know I'm doing a lot of insight checks, but with all of your curses, it's kind of fun.
That is 25.
I don't think this is technically how the curse is supposed to work, but I'm going to rule it this way for our little game. You notice that Tommy at no point recoils from you. He doesn't seem to be affected by the curse in the same way that, sort of, air quotes, people are.
Yeah, gotcha. I think that kind of that, like noticing that, I think Ricky kind of relaxes a little bit more around him. He doesn't really know how to feel about it, and he doesn't really know what to do because it's so confusing to him. But he also does kind of naturally relax a little bit more around him, even though he keeps his hood up when we go back out in public.
Yeah. So, that said, Tommy leads you out onto the street, and you make your way through the busy streets of Leerpool again. You eventually make your way to, I need to find the description of this, a market. It sprawls in every direction, a mosaic of sights, sounds, and scents that are almost overwhelming. The savoury aroma of cooked meats and exotic spices mingles with the smell of fresh fruit and veg. These carry a little bit of a hint of decay, as if they've been sat here for a length of time. But around them you see numerous buildings, all with signs proclaiming their wares. They line the sides of the square, all around. From the livestock area comes a mixture of damp straw and the undeniable pungency of animals. The clamour of hawkers who tout their wares insistently. "Berries so nice you'll want to roll the dice," and "How the butchers at these apples, as fresh as your wife's smile." And you find yourselves in the marketplace of Leerpool. We've got a lovely little new map, so you can have a look around you.
Ooh.
So as
I
described,
like
you've got
the
a couple of
fountain.
shops. You've got the fountain is very nice, and the fountain is in fact special if you wish to have a look at it. But you see a number of shops, the open market square, like the stalls with the various merchants all around, and the livestock pits to the south. Say pits, the livestock area to the south. As you sort of approach, Tommy, who's been leading the way, sort of stops, gestures around, and says, "Welcome to Leerpool's market. It is around this area I saw several of the miscreants from the Wolf's Head extorting some of the righteous business owners who work here. Please, look around if you see anything suspicious. Do as you will. I will keep an eye and make sure that nothing untoward happens."
Well, are we going to stick together or move about?
I think Ricky's gonna, like, having kind of grown up and like fed himself basically by stealing scraps from probably markets like this one. Can I make a perception check just to see like any points, almost like points of weakness, like anything that would flag up to me as like somewhere where in a past life, shall we say, I would have tried to steal from. Probably just from like these ones that are out in the open, not like the shops themselves.
Absolutely. I'll let you give me whichever you're better at, investigation or perception.
Awesome, thank you. That is a dirty 20.
Oof. You spot. Just double check my map details. You see an ever-changing area of market stalls over the side with fruit, vegetable, meat, and fish being set out amongst all of the stall holders, as well as some prepared food, stuff that could be eaten immediately, like roasted nuts and some meat served over a skewer, on a skewer. You wouldn't think I would do this professionally. You do as well notice that there's a perceived current of agitation amongst the stall holders here. They are still calling their wares, as I described. 2 dozen for a silver, and crying out their wares. But there is this undercurrent of anxiety. You see their eyes dart. They're constantly looking over their shoulder to check the wares in their stalls. You see some won't even step away, even as they're serving. They stay in the one place reaching for their items and throwing them into bags for their customers. There's something has them on edge.
I think I'll mention that to the rest of the group. I'll just say everybody seems a bit anxious. Maybe this criminal gang have been at it with some of the market stalls as well.
Wouldn't surprise me. If they're, as we say, I was going for a northern accent, but it's Cockney now, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Just lean into it. Lean into it.
Well, if they are apex predators, like we seem to be from the mayor says, that will make sense.
What we're going to do now is I've just realised, with you guys being in the market now, we're going to do what I like to roll sometimes, which is a luck check. So I want somebody from the group to shout out highs or lows.
Highs.
Literally anyone. There we go. Literally anyone. That unfortunately was an 18. As you're looking about, you see that one of the, as you sort of approached the market area, there was quite obviously this merchant's wagon, which is like sort of what we might think of as a gypsy wagon, with the sort of hook on the top and the canvas covering the back, with a little drop down excuse me, a little drop down window with somebody sort of leaning on it nonchalantly. Quite obviously not from the city, but unfortunately not anyone you recognize.
Does anyone want to go and say hello to anyone in particular?
I'd rather say hello to no one personally, but
I'll tell you what,
nice.
'cause obviously we've had Ricky has been looking around at the actual stall owners. Would anyone have like wanted to look to see what the various like physical shops were?
I mean, I want to look at the fountain, and I think Andromeda would as well, because it probably have the least people and the most plants.
I did like the differentiation then. It's just, I would like to do that. And also my character will do that.
That said, if you like sort of hone in on the fountain, you see this beautiful fountain as the bubbling sound of burbling water washes over you as you come a little bit closer. You see a stone backdrop features an eternally cascading waterfall which seems to capture any stray light. In the centre there's a tall plinth, and you can catch a fleeting glimpse of a woman's visage buried beneath the flowing water. Vines grow around the edges, and a few buckets are placed strategically around the edge. And you see sort of like sitting on the edge of the fountain, sort of not sort of lounging, but sort of sat up, surveying the people as they pass. An elderly human woman, dark complexion, white hair tied back in a severe braid, and as you approach, she smiles genially at you.
I attempt to smile back, but it's kind of like...
It's all teeth.
I feel like Andromeda's teeth have probably got moss in it as well.
Excuse me, miss. Has someone stolen your bag recently?
Oh dear, no. Have you come to give your worship here at the Fountain of Sulis?
I was named after Solus.
Were you, my dear?
Yeah.
Well then, blessings upon you. Please, come, worship, wash away your ills and sins here within the fountain. And she gestures to several of the buckets that are sitting around.
Shaw looks around at the others. I'm not sure there's enough water, but okay.
Would you like to
Vibes.
draw some water from the fountain?
Sure.
Cool. Can I get a D4 roll, please?
It's a 1.
As you draw it out, you see that the water is just sort of regular water. You don't know what you were expecting, but it is just regular water. And you see sort of gestures for you to like tip it over yourself.
Yeah, Shaw just kind of wash his scalp.
And as you do, the woman that I should have said as you approach would have stood up, and she comes over and she sort of places a hand. Well, I was going to say on your head, on your chest, on your chest. Closes her eyes and holds up her other hand and say, "May Sulis shine her light upon you as her healing waters wash over you."
I sometimes wish Solus would leave me alone for a bit, to be honest, but
Oh my
I shall
dear,
take the
why?
gifts.
Why ever would you say that?
I've had her gifts all my life, and they become somewhat of a burden after a while, really.
You see, she contemplates for a moment and says, "Yes, those of us drawn to heal and to mend the issues of others have quite the task ahead of us. And for one such long-lived as yourself, I imagine it is a long and daunting road ahead. But remember, Sulis's gifts are not for our own use; they are for the use for others."
You've certainly
And-
helped a lot of doors.
She'll pat her on the
Quizzical
head,
look.
and
Just quizzical look.
yeah, she'll pat her on the head and say, "Well, thank you, and blessings on you as well." Then I guess. Does anybody else want
me-
some blessing water while
I
we're
said,
here?
just because of obviously your background and stuff, give me another D4 roll.
Oh, that's a 1 again.
Okay, never mind.
Not using that D4 anymore.
But yeah, she looks. I'm assuming the rest of the party have sort of come over with Shul. Would anyone else wish to feel the healing waters of Sulis?
I'll pass. Thank you.
Yep. Jack actively steps backwards.
I think Ricky, like, he walks forward and like walks after Shul, but like as he catches a glimpse of himself in like the reflection of the water, he just kind of like disassociates.
Well, I would say because there's a continuously flowing like fountain here, there wouldn't be like a smooth surface on this. So you've got like a very blurry reflection, if anything.
Yeah, I think just seeing like the shape of his face in the hood just kind of puts him off for a second, and he just kind of like winces and steps back, and probably just steps to the back of the group.
So it's just you and Jack fighting to be at the back.
Yeah. No. You, please, after you.
Well, please, Sulis's waters are not required by all, but please go in peace, and may Sulis heal you of all your ills. She just sort of does a holy gesture towards you all, and sort of anything else you would like to talk to this woman about, or is your inquiry sated?
I'll just sort of turn to her and say, "Well, Solus's blessings, not for me, but I could certainly pay my respect, and I will go round to where some of the vines are, and I'll cast Druidcraft to try and make them have some pretty flowers."
Yeah, that's Druidcraft just does that. You make some lovely little pretty flowers. He says, thank you. It's always nice to have something nice to look upon while I wait to service the people of the city. Thank you.
I'm told people like flowers better than moss, but they're wrong, but apparently they do.
Moss certainly has its place amongst the plants of the forest.
It does indeed. Thank you. These lot don't
Nods.
like moss as much as I do.
I don't think anyone likes moss as much as you do.
I don't mind moss. It's comfy. Comfier than the ground. It's nice
Yeah.
and soft.
Say, Ricky gets it.
Take it or leave it.
I think Ricky just like turns to the woman by the fountain and just says, "Thank you for your kindness, miss. It's very much appreciated."
Of course. Sulus's waters are always there for those who need it. And can I get a perception check from everyone?
Absolutely.
14.
10.
I finally rolled badly, but I have a very decent perception, so it's an 11.
I got an 8.
With a 14, Shul, you just on the edge of hearing, hear the sound of something smashing, and then a very low. I can't do it quietly and low. It's meant to sound a bit like a bull. But when you turn around, this is quite often the sound of an agitated animal. But when you turn to look, the animal pens to the south, while there are cows and sheep and pigs and all milling around, none of them seem to be in distress. But the sound definitely came from the south.
Well, it sounds like something needs mending again.
Oh,
Jesus.
well, lead the way.
Jack
you,
gives
miss.
a very indignant look of it wasn't me.
I was gonna say, I'm sure throughout our travels, Shul has basically just been like making a side hustle as like a contractor. Just like as soon as Jack walks through a door, like Shul is like printing out a quotation for someone to fix it.
It's just a
I'm
walking
sure there's-
protection racket.
I was gonna say, I think there's a name for this. I think it's some form of extortion, maybe?
I do feel like Shul is the only one that's ever, like, money savvy out of the entire group. And it's like, but, like, we need to have money, guys. And they're like, no, we're fine.
Yeah.
Jack's
I like to
broken a
imagine
lot
if-
of things.
Yeah, I actually imagine it's literally like Shul walks into a shop and Jack just stands outside. Like, my friend out there is very clumsy. Be a shame if he came in here.
He's very large and he does not understand the concept of doors. Might be
They're not
fine.
even threats.
Yes.
So you guys make your way south across the open market area, and you begin to hear again this low, getting louder, and then you start to hear shouts, and then more smashing, and then as you get sort of just to the edge of where the animal pens are, sort of thinking you're trying to find the source of this low guttural animal noise, and it's quite clearly not. There are like the cows are lowing, the sheep, everything's going off, but there's nothing like this happening. This is something in distress. And then out of nowhere, the shop next to the pens, the front door flies open, and a man dressed in sort of worn and raggedy leathers comes flying out fully off the ground, lands and skids on his back several feet into the square, and then just sort of falls back, and you hear a commotion coming from inside the shop.
Does the guy look hurt? Does he look like is he like bleeding or anything?
Would you want to go over and have a look at him? From a distance, he's very much just lying like flat on his back.
All right, okay. Yeah, I think Ricky's gonna start heading towards the shop, see
Okay.
what all the commotion is.
What about everyone else? They head to the shop as well, or does anyone want to go and
Yeah.
inspect the guy lying on his back?
Just walk straight
Well,
past
that's a
it.
good point. I'm a healer. I'll go check.
Cool. You, as the rest of you start making your way to the shop, you would reach the man first because he's a little bit closer to you. So can I get a medicine check?
Am I proficient in this? I don't know. Let's find out. I am. Which would make that a 14.
The man has quite clearly like badly. Obviously, bruises don't form immediately. He's quite clearly been like roughed up a little bit. There's like quite obviously red areas where he's been hit by something, and it looks like something has like pierced him in the side and like torn him up a little bit. Not super deep, and with a 14, it's quite clearly not like a sword or even a spear. It's something quite large, like torn into his side and like ripped a large bit out of his side. and you could see obviously he's been thrown bodily backwards. He is currently alive but unconscious.
Okay. I'd like to dress the wound as best I can. Do I have a herbalism kit? I don't think I do. I guess I will just use moss then, because
Just pack it with
moss moss will stop bleeding.
Healing
That's a
bodies,
thing,
man.
right? It comes full circle.
So we're gonna
Magic.
so just as an update, like the whiteboard, one half of it is going to be explaining the concept of pantomime, and the other half of it is going to be like random moss facts
I
stuff that you
may
didn't know about moss.
I may already have a tab open that says cool facts about moss.
That tracks.
Excellent.
That tracks.
While
Yeah, I'll
you're
try and
tending-
stop the bleeding and as
Yeah.
best I can.
While you're tending to him, would you be trying to gain any more information about him, or is your only concern right now the wound?
I think it would be a wound first, and then once I'm like confident with that, then it's like, oh, I should probably get some information, because Andromeda's not a people person. It'll be like
Cool.
It's an
problem
What we'll say
unconscious
is then-
person.
The best kind. Just because... Oh, I should say as well, by the way, as soon as you guys approached the fountain, because nobody's asked about him, as soon as you turned around, Tommy was gone. Just
Of
disappeared.
course it was. I knew not to trust him.
It's a cat.
Exactly, he's a cat. Because you're gonna because you said your focus would be on the wound, we'll come back to you and we'll have a quick bit with what the other guys see. As you guys approach, you hear this like guttural lowing noise getting louder, and you hear more crashing and banging, and then finally you hear, "Ooh, stop that! Stop destroying my pottery!" And as you step up to the door, you see a very, very short minotaur, bodily, well, I say bodily, with his horns, pick up a man dressed in very similar leathers and like throw him onto the ground while another man behind him is brandishing a short sword. Oh, by the way, it's a pottery shop. I should have specified.
So it's a bull in a china shop.
It is very much a pottery shop.
That was good. That was
Yeah.
good. That was good.
I
The
didn't
bull
write
owns
this.
the china shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh no, after you.
No, but go for it. I was just going to say, I assume the bull is the owner of the... Well, the Minotaur is the owner of the shop from this.
That's the assumption you're making.
Yeah. I think Shaw will still be behind Jack. So, yeah, Jack can lead the way.
So standing in the doorway, how much distance is there between the doorway and this short minotaur?
So the shop's probably only about 45, I say probably, I'm looking at the map. It's only about 45 feet sort of long. I'd say the owner of the shop was trying to push these guys out, so I'd say they're probably only like 15 feet. I say, knowing full well I wrote the item you're about to use, they're probably only about 15 feet from the door.
Yeah. The person who the Minotaur's just thrown onto the ground, if the Minotaur is, if we're perceiving this to be the owner, I will yeet a chain at him and start attempting to drag him out. So,
Excellent. Would you like to tell our audience what item you're about to use?
yes. This is a lovely item that was made for this by Gordon. It is called I have it written down. It has a name and everything. The suspense. Ooh. The chain of binding and snaring, which it functions as a dagger, short sword or long sword, and it allows me to attack with a 15-foot reach. And if I attack, I get to grapple people with it. And I can start dragging people around and doing fun, silly things.
In a
So-
pottery shop.
Let's do it. That is a 16, and I rolled an
16.
8.
God damn it. 16 is, I'm pretty sure, going to hit. I'm just going to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's going to hit. Yes, it's definitely going to hit.
Alright, and then I'm just going to start dragging him outwards. So, somewhere there should be...
So this guy is like picked up like on the head of this minotaur, and he's like, whoa, 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 and then on the ground, and then as he starts to get to his feet, there's a rattling of chains, and then
Oh gosh, I can't find where it was because I wrote it on Roll20, but that seems to have disappeared. So now I'm having to scroll up in the Discord chat to find the exact rules on it. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, yeah. So on a hit, medium or small creatures grappled, escape DC 15. And since I haven't moved, I'm just going to start dragging it out. So I can move it up to 15 feet. So move it
With
15
a
feet
strength
closer.
contest, which I'm pretty sure you're going to win.
What was that? 20
Yep.
strength?
Yeah. And do I get to add proficiency to this?
Because it's a strength was that make an athletics contest? Why not? I'm pretty sure you're going to have taken proficiency in athletics.
So just out of curiosity, this technically counts as a grapple, correct?
It's already grappled. The grapple is automatic. This is just a strength
Okay.
contest to see if you can move them.
Okay, so I rolled a 7, but that's a 15.
I rolled an 11 for a 13. So you can now move up to half your movement, pulling him with you.
Yep, just walk 15 feet out of the shop, dragging this guy with me.
So this guy sort of gets to his feet, hears the clinking of chains, like, what was... And next thing, this chain just, like, wraps around him several times, the blade on the end stabbing into him. You need to roll damage as well, by the way, because it's still a melee attack.
Yeah, I forgot damage.
So-
Okay. I rolled a 1, so 6 damage.
Oh, fuck. So this chain wraps around him finally with the blade stabbing in his head. And then, as you just start walking, and he like falls on his ass, and you just start dragging. He's like, what? Who the fuck is these? What the fuck is happening? And the other guy who was behind the Minotaur, sort of able to look directly over the Minotaur's head, that's how short this Minotaur is, sees Jack pulling this guy out. He's like, what the fuck? I'm out! And he just sort of throws the sword down, and he just tries to sprint past you guys. I'm going to say Jack, because you've got this guy entangled, as per the rules of the item, you can't make another attack with that. Would anyone else like try and stop the guy running away?
I don't think... Go on.
I would love to try and stop him if I can just use my like walking stick quarterstaff thing to just like knock his leg out from under him or something like that.
Yeah,
while he's running. That would be quite good.
We'll just do this as like a sort of like a grapple check. Give me just a straight up attack roll, and then if you hit, I'll just make him make a dex save to see if he falls over or not.
Without turning around, I just go, Jack, play nice. Because I hear the chains.
She'll will shout at the running away person and just be like, stop!
Stop!
Oh no. I got it. I rolled a natural 2 for a 10.
Oh, their AC is 11, unfortunately.
Oh.
So you see him running out, and he's sort of he's more interested in Jack, and he goes to like sidestep around Jack and run away, and you just go to like stick the staff out to trip him. But you are a little rat boy, and he just like kicks the quarterstaff and keeps running.
Okay. As he avoids the trip, Shaw will cast Hold Person.
Excellent. That's a wisdom saving throw, I believe?
Yeah, DC 17.
Oh, he feels that completely. He's like, what the fuck?
I said stop!
I love the idea that you say stop first and then you go, wait, no,
Wait.
stop! Cast the
With a
spell.
magic gesture.
Wanted to give Ricky a chance, you know?
Yeah,
The
stop.
lad needs a win.
Stop with a capital S. Yeah, I think as Ricky misses, he just goes, "Oh, we got a runner."
I got him, Ricky.
And then
Thanks, Sean.
So there is a reason I didn't roll initiative for that one. I didn't think it was going to be necessary. You currently have one man wrapped up in chains with Jack standing over him, and the other one now restrained with Hold Person. What is your next steps here?
I think Shaw's going to approach the person he has gripped in Hold Person and will point over to Jack and his friend and say, you probably should tell us what's going on here, or Jack has another end to that chain. Oh yeah, I'll release him.
He's just gonna run away.
I think Ricky is doing his best, even though he just missed. missed quite an open trip, and B, he's next to Jack and Shul, who just probably naturally are much more intimidating than he is. He's just
speaking
doing
of
his
intimidation, can I get Shul to make an intimidation check at advantage because you're technically using Jack as the intimidation?
I was just going to ask.
Don't
Can I
use
get the help
Ricky.
action?
Okay, even with advantage, just a 12.
Okay, well let's make a wisdom saving throw. Oh, you're lucky. That was a 10 plus nothing. You can see there's like a split second where his eyes look between the two of you, and then he looks like off between all of you. He's like, you can see him thinking, I might be able to get past them. And then he just sees like Jack, just like with one hand, chain still wrapped around the guy, just lifting him off the ground bodily. And he's like, I'm not going to risk it. And he just sort of stands with his hands up. What do you want to know?
What's been going on?
I've just been doing my job. Just been doing my job.
What's your job?
At this point, I would say, now that you've had like a second for this, the Minotaur comes like stomping out of the office, like, right, you, come here! And he starts like stomping towards the guy. He's like, no, please, don't let him hit me again.
If you don't want to get hurt, then maybe you just answer our questions.
Cool. Does anyone try to stop the Minotaur? Cool. He just walks up and kicks him square in the balls. And the guy just collapses to the ground in the fetal position. Still
Excuse
conscious.
me, sir. Have these men been bothering you?
You can say that again. These lads are coming into my shop week after week demanding money, or they'll smash up all my pots. Well, I've had enough! And he kicks the guy on the ground. They'll be not getting another copper piece out of me.
Well, that doesn't seem very nice.
No.
No, you're right. It's not. No, kicks him again. I thank you for your help, but what exactly are you planning on doing with these lads? Because if they go back and tell their mates, well, as much as I hate to admit it, my shop won't be here much longer.
I'll sort of turn over as I'm patching up the other one. I'm going, oh, was I not supposed to be doing this?
Are you helping him?
Well, he was hurt.
He just walks over and starts like kicking him, even though he's unconscious.
Okay, fair enough.
Come into my shop, Rick, my pottery.
I just stand up and watch.
I would probably say that if you don't want to be on the wrong side of these people, killing one of them probably isn't going to help.
I would say you actually do. People's like talk about like bulls seeing red when you turn around this Minotaur with just a full-on bull's head on what you now realize is a dwarf-sized body, and his eyes are literally like shining red, and he has that like snorting steam. You're right. You're right. But, like I said, if these ones go back and tell their mates, or if their mates find out that I fought back, I'm as good as dead. Now, what are you going to do about it? As
What are
nobody
we gonna
responds
do?
immediately, he starts like looking around, and he's like, actually, shit. There could be some of them in the market. Wait, get these lot inside. He picks the ankle up of the one he was just kicking and starts dragging him into the shop.
I was just gonna say, like, can I? Sorry, sir. Is there a private area where we can take these men in your shop?
I mean, not really. I don't live here, but if we can get inside, we can close the door at least.
Okay.
Cool. I think Ricky probably does his best with 11 strength to help pull one of the guys in. It's mostly performative.
I'm sure between the five of us, we can get all these three guys into the shop.
Yeah.
Jack would do both single-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One in chains, just hoist you up onto the shoulder and walk through the door into the shop.
Yeah.
As you guys all get inside, the owner of the shop walks over and like shuts the door back. Actually, I say, Jack, would you have ducked?
No.
That's right. Shul's
What are you
mending.
doing to my shop? Oh, right. Fucking fix that and get the door shut.
Shul's got a mending cantrip in each hand, and he's just going through mending all the pots and the door. And
I realised I have mending as well, so I'll help you.
I'm thinking about you've just never used it. Just let Shul do it.
Essentially,
uses it mostly on moss.
Essentially, this party is a protection racket plus a small rat boy. Yeah.
You eat all the food. That's what you do. You go into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
restaurants.
yeah,
You go into
yeah.
the restaurants like, it'd be a shame if somebody saw a rat in here. You might get shut down.
That's it.
The
Yeah.
second the door is closed and you all like turn back to the room, you see like sat on the edge of one of the counters is Tommy. Well, I see you've run into some of the miscreants while I was gone.
Nice of you to help.
Oh, you seem to have it mightily handled.
Hmm.
And at which point you see like the shop owner jumps like, where the bleeding hell did you come from?
He's a magic cat.
Oh, right, you're that Tommy, aren't you? Dick's cat. Yes, my good sir, that would be me. I'm here to help these ones along in their mission from the mayor. Oh, mission from the mayor, aye. Wouldn't happen to have anything to do with these wolf's head buggers, would it?
So much for keeping a low profile.
Yeah, Tommy, you're not really helping the cover here.
I believe I was told to introduce you to some of the people who have been affected by these miscreants and perhaps find a clue on to get away in, and voila, we have 3 clues. And he gestures to the 3 men.
In fairness, we did find these clues ourselves.
Ah, but would you have known to come to the market?
Didn't we ask to come to the market?
No, he just brought you here.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't like you. By the way.
It's very unfair. We have known each other for less than an hour.
A minute's enough.
Most of that time was spent just prodding him. Ultimately.
Okay, well, we'll talk to these gentlemen, and we'll see if we can figure out what to do with them and how to get to their place of work, I suppose. And she'll look at them, and well, the conscious ones at least, be like, you can get us into your hideout, right?
You see the 2 conscious ones sort of looking between each other and then looking to the unconscious one, who was first of all healed and then kicked. I imagine one of them or both of them are chained up at this point, and they sort of share a look, and it's like, well, yes? Look, what are you... Why do you want into the hideout? What are you going to do?
I think we'd like to have a word with your bosses.
You want to speak to Adam. Okay.
He says yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, we could take you in, or we could tell you how to get in.
I kind of feel like these ones should take us in. What do you guys think? I mean, we don't want to be running into an ambush or nothing, do we?
Do any of them have a hat?
Let's roll a luck check. Highs or lows?
Lows.
Oh, you rolled a 4. All 3 of them are wearing hats, and one of them's wearing one of those big, like, foppish, like, sort of flamboyant ones with a big wide rim and a feather in it.
Jack takes the smallest hat, puts it on his head,
It's a fez.
and then kind of gestures to the group, going,
Tommy from
Ricky-
the table. It's like I'm seeing double.
Ricky looks impressed. Yeah, I think Ricky's still trying to make himself look as intimidating as possible, and he's just like, "Yeah, we don't trust you. You got to take us in." I don't know what is happening with my accent, but it is. It is.
I wouldn't
it
worry.
is
Every voice I pick
spiraling.
changes every other sentence.
Ugh.
Well, look, I mean, we can take you in, but if we turn up without the money from our job, and you see they shoot a look at the Minotaur, who just... The bottom line is, if we turn up without any money, we're in trouble.
You're in trouble right now.
Very, very good point, well made. But so far, you haven't killed us.
I'm going to draw my
Nope.
scimitar and hold it to his throat. And I'm like, you want to bet?
But I know for a fact if we go in and see Adam, he will kill us. He says, like, with the sword under his throat.
And how do you know I won't kill you right now?
Jack points to Andromeda with a thumb up.
Give me an intimidation check at advantage.
She
Well, I'm
will.
going to need it because
She's done it before.
Slit a man from ear to ear.
That is... 15 plus 1, 16.
I would say they are quite sufficiently terrified. Okay, right, well, yes, we'll take you in. We'll show you where to go. And we'll do whatever you want. Just please don't hurt us anymore.
Can't guarantee that. I'll kick him to try and get them to stand up if they are able to do so. I don't know how the tie-up situation is.
I mean, if you wanted to be able to stand up, you would have tied them in such a way. Yeah, you kick them sufficiently until the two who are conscious stand up. And I imagine once they're stood up, the Minotaur man kicks one in the shins again. Well,
Makes
sounds
sense.
like you've got some business with the guild, and it sounds like your business may work out in my favour. So, by all means, take them away, do whatever you want with them. And once you're done, come back and see me, and I'll do whatever I can to help. But the name's Nuspam, by the way. And he holds out a large, like, meaty fist covered in hair. And it's like, you realize, like, he is still short for a Minotaur, but he is still very much a Minotaur, big, thick, meaty fingers, and you're like, God, it's impressive that he can make pots.
Genuinely thought you were going to say he holds out a business card, and my entire brain melted.
Sure, hold
He
out a
hold-
business card.
He holds out a little pot with his name and business written on it. I find these work a bit better than business cards, more memorable this way.
Jack tries to take it and breaks it in his hand.
Look, I've had enough of that for today. Get the fuck out of my shop.
I'll quickly mend it and then leave.
Thank you, dear. Now get out. For the record, for those watching along at home and those who might be interested in the future, Nuspam, as well as several of the other members of the various shops in and around this area, all have their own various quests and side quests. As you may have noticed, I was describing Nuspam as being a very, very short dwarven minotaur. He is, in fact, under a curse, like most people in this setting that you'll meet, or some of them at least. And all of these lovely little characters that we don't have time to meet tonight, unfortunately, all have their own little intersecting stories and quest lines that you can pick up as you take your own party through this venture.
Oh, but
That
Jordan, we're
said-
now going to go into every single shop and meet every single NPC.
I want to know.
Fortunately, it's closing time. By the time you get to the next one, it's all been full. See how that
Oh,
works.
you're acting like-
not
God.
stop Jack.
Yeah,
You
nobody
think
in
doors
there.
can stop me?
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
From where?
Shaw mends the rocks.
Yeah, from the sky, a big storm picked some up from the rock mines outside of the city and carried them in. You guys leave the shop. I would say at this point you probably very surreptitiously unsheen the two people who are now meant to be acting as your guides, threats suitably threatened, and they begin leading you through the city towards the Thorny Paw Tavern that you've heard mentioned before. And for those who may be paying attention, notice the second you leave the shop that Tom once again vanishes.
Of course it does.
But for now, we're going to take a quick break. I hope. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Again, I'm saying this as if I'm talking directly to you. I'm not. We're in the past. Ooh. You're in the future, though, so you have to warn us about things that are going to happen this week. It is Tuesday right now. Has anything interesting happened?
Please say the country's still there.
Go on, tell us.
Look, if we try to watch this later this week, it's going to be devastating.
Yeah, something will happen, and now we're gonna watch this back, and we're gonna be like, we were such fools back in the past.
How could we not have seen it coming?
I blame Jordan.
The French have invaded again.
Oh, they're all led by
Whoa.
Tommy.
Who turns out speaks with a Spanish accent? I don't know.
Yeah.
As Chloe found out at the previous charity event we were talking about in the break, I have like 3 accents. Scottish, my normal accent, and West Country. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did that for 6 hours several weeks ago and could barely stop myself the next day. That said,
Well, I did this, so that was quite painful.
that's it. Let's stop talking about other games that you people have never seen. You have all exited Nuspam's pottery shop, the Bull's pottery shop, and you're being led by these members of the Wolves' Head Thieves Guild to their hideaway. You bustle through the streets. I imagine somebody keeping very close eye, hand, or dagger to your sort of captives, sort of guides. And as you eventually arrive in front of quite a large tavern, which I realized in the break I probably should have pulled up the description of. More fool me. Here we go. There are few windows on this large, squat building, but the sounds of raucous laughter and shouts can be heard from quite a distance away. Built of sturdy but plain stone, the outside is barely inviting. If it weren't for the large wolf's paw holding a tankard painted directly on the wall, you wouldn't even know that it was a tavern. Inside you hear voices raised in discussion, laughter, shouting, even occasionally a few bars of singing permeate the noise, and the 2 men in front of you sort of stop outside, and you see them having to, their breath quickens a little bit, and they turn back to you guys like, okay, right, so I promised we'd get you into the hideout, but this place is going to be full of people who know who we are and who don't know who you are, so we're going to go in separately, and I promise. Look, you guys are scary. And I don't
How
want to
about
die.
this? What we do is you're taking us in to give us an introduction to Adam. So we kind of have
You
to
see him
all
like
be
visibly
together.
panics. Like visibly panics. But we don't get to see Adam unless he summons us. And look, listen, go in, mingle. One of us, both of us, will always be within eye line. Once there's an opportunity to slip you guys into the actual hideout, we'll make a signal. And then you come and follow us at a distance, and we'll take you into the hideout. Look, I don't want to die. And Adam is not a very nice man. And you guys seem like nice people, I hope.
Looks
I just look
shiftily at the others.
confused.
I hope.
Can
Jack is
I mean,
adjusting his hat.
It's fair.
I mean, this.
You see
this
the hatless
guy,
man looks at it forlornly.
Yeah, I mean, this guy seems fairly scared of Adam, but can I make an insight check just to see if he's like planning on, as soon as he gets us in front of other people, he's just gonna like rat us out? No pun intended. Or sell
give me an
us
insight check.
down the river. That's a nat 20.
He is obviously scared of Adam, and you can tell he's obviously quite scared of all of you guys as well.
Okay.
As far as you can tell, he's telling the truth. Obviously, if you guys suggest something else, he will listen. But his suggestion is basically, we don't look like we're together. You mingle for a bit, and then we sort of indicate when it's ready to move, and you just follow us.
Is there another way into the hideout part?
You see the 2 of them sort of, well, yeah, you only brought the 2 of them with you. They look at each other and say, technically, there's 2 entrances. One is the one we can use. One is the one only Adam can use.
Where's that one?
So the one Adam can use is directly behind the bar, and it's always protected. And obviously, if any of you guys try to walk behind the bar, everyone in the bar is going to know. The other entrance is round the back near the kitchen, and we might be able to sneak you guys round there without too many people noticing.
Okay.
I'm known to be a little unseen when needs must.
Good.
If you think
good.
that's a good idea.
I mean, not immediately, because we have to go and make sure that the coast is clear. If there's people already, heading in or out, we'll run into them one way or the other. If we can make sure there's a clear path, we'll signal you, and he taps his nose again, and then you follow us at a distance, and we'll direct you into the hideout.
What do we think, gang?
Well, it seems as good a plan as any. Do I see? If I above game, I can cast pass without trace. And she'll be like, I think I could be quite. I could hide for a bit. Either I could follow the rest of you as you go in, or I could try and get behind the bar.
Yeah, I can, for a little while, I can make myself invisible.
That's even more useful.
So maybe we have a look and see, maybe we go up to the bar, maybe we see what the situation is. Again, my accent is all over the place. We see what the situation is, and then we can always, if that doesn't look like it's gonna work, Chucklefuck 1 and Chucklefuck 2 can try and sneak us in through the kitchen.
Over your shoulder. Am I one? Are you one? Are you? Who's one? You two? You two?
You know who you are.
The Chucklefuck brothers.
Yeah. The famous Chucklefuck
To me,
brothers.
to you, to me, to you.
All right, let's
Alright,
do
you're
it.
gonna have to dedicate a whiteboard to explain the Chuckle Brothers.
Chuckle Brothers.
So
We're the height of
far,
comedy.
we've got 3 columns. We've got hashtag Moss Facts. We've got the history of pantomime, and then we've got the Chucklefuck brothers and their relationship with the Chuckle brothers.
I just realised I've told Kimberly, the author of this setting, to come and watch this stream.
Mate, she's gonna know all these stuff anyway, so that's all good.
I'm sorry, Kim. I'm really sorry. Oh god. Anyway,
Sounds like we've got a plan though.
I think it might be a bit difficult for Jack and I to sneak in, but I'm sure that we can figure something out on the moment.
Jack, you can't see Jack's face, but you can tell from his body language he feels slightly indignant about the assumption that he cannot blend in.
I mean, if he stands next to the stone wall,
Just
If there were-
jingling his chains.
If there was subtitles for Jack's quote unquote speech, it would be saying, "How dare you? I contain multitudes."
I am more than my appearance. I am many faceted being.
I think I was
But it
more
comes out as-
thinking that if you guys went in with
You
the,
can come
with
in
the
the back.
Chucklefuck brothers, and we could sneak round the back potentially. But of course,
Yeah.
the splitting the party could go horribly wrong. I'm a big fan of splitting the party though, because
I
I'm a
will never
chaos
stop
gremlin.
anyone from splitting the party.
I mean,
I actively encourage it.
following Andromeda's suggestion of us going with Chuckle Fox, Jack will crouch down and put a hand on each of their shoulders. Go,
The point was, we go in ahead so we don't look like we're together, and then people don't try to kill us.
No, but you can still do that. It's just we might try and sneak through the back at the same time.
No, just because Jack's put his arm around both of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
We go in first.
That's
Oh, no.
okay. We can go in and make some friends. Is there anyone you would suggest us to hang out with?
Well, I don't know who's in the bar currently, and you get on the edge of hearing, you hear like a twang, poof, and well, it sounds like, where is the name of that guy? Well, it sounds like One-Eyed Billy is probably in at the dummy range. Maybe be careful around him. I'm going to assume that we've got a couple of the regulars in. Probably Cooper's behind the bar. Nell and Elsie serving drinks as usual. There might be a couple of people in around the corner in the. Where have I lost it? Where have I lost the name? There might be a couple of people in the Howler. There's usually some sort of performance going on around there. And then the other one like taps him on the shoulder and like whispers something to him, like, "Oh, and when we left, Sir Geoffrey Wolveshead was at the bar. He might still be there." And he says that name as if you would know who that is.
Do we know who it is?
Give me a history check.
Gladly.
Sir Geoffrey Wolveshead, like the same name as the gang.
Ooh, that's a nat 20. 21.
18.
Oh,
11.
Funny enough, I actually need to ask Kimberly about that. Is he? Because there's nothing in the notes that indicates he's like the founder of the guild or anything. I need to figure out if that's like intentional. So those of you who rolled high, I'm going to assume you share this information. You would have heard that Sir Geoffrey Wolveshead is a renowned gentleman thief. In fact, you may have even run into him or his escapades once or twice in your travels here. As you probably, actually, I would say with the higher rolls, you probably actually would have heard about his like exploits outside of Leerpool quite recently. So you're actually quite surprised to hear that he's here right now, because you're pretty sure he was like thieving down south quite recently.
So I know a little bit of Bartitsu, which essentially means I've done one workshop, which is like Victorian gentleman fighting, and that means that this guy is the scariest person in this bar right now.
yeah, Jordan. I just want to keep track of this as well. We've now got two people that are obviously played by or voiced by Antonio Banderas. He's
So
really
this guy's
pulling.
French.
Oh, okay. Just wanna keep you on your toes there.
Imagine if you walk in and it's just Tommy.
That's genuinely what I was thinking for a second. For like
It's
a
just
good
Tommy,
second.
but with a fake mustache.
Doesn't even do the different voice.
I was like, "Hello, it's good to see you again."
All right. Well, shall we head in, and Andromeda, we can see what the security looks like behind the bar. And
Let's go suss it out.
I mean, obviously, I can't buy a drink.
I don't have any money.
But
Shaw gets out his purse and starts counting out the coins. I think we're going to be okay.
Giving everyone their pocket money.
So Jack actually stops Shaw and puts his hand in the pocket of Chucklefuck Brothers and gives money to the two of them.
I love that. Yeah, you guys all have like some silvers and stuff that you could spend at the bar. So the two of them sort of like nod to all of you, and they start to like slowly make their way into the bar, trying to look normal. And they're doing that thing where, you know, people who are trying to look normal just look really awkward and like stiff, and like, yes, things are completely fine. We're not being held hostage. One of them ones.
what do I usually do with my hands?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Here, carry this ladder.
Whoa, to me, to you. They step in, and true to their word, they make sure that they're always within like eyesight of you. So they walk in, they sort of like stop to talk, like they try to exchange words with someone, which you can tell is just as awkward as the way they're walking. But they always make sure to like maintain eye line with you guys. So which of you would be the first to enter the bar?
I think maybe me and Ricky could go first because we're probably the most normal looking. I say, both looking terrible. No, but I mean, like, if we're wearing like hoods and stuff, then we can.
Yeah, I was
blend in.
gonna
The other
say,
two don't really have a chance.
I've got my hood up, so I will be sweltering hot when I get into this tavern.
Yeah.
Well,
And we'll head over to the bar and kind of see what's going on there.
As you step over the threshold, you hear a twang, boom, and a crossbow bolt thunks into the wall right next to your head. Ah, sorry, mate, calls it a one-eyed man standing by a small table nearby. He holds a well-used crossbow. We've got a wager on. Best move out of the way. To your right, directly next to the entrance, you see two training dummies riddled with arrows and the telltale holes left behind by crossbow bolts. The wall behind them has definitely seen better days, and currently a crossbow bolt is wedged in the wood next to your head.
I just sort of like nod and try not to make eye contact and like pivot the other direction.
Yeah, I think Ricky tries to do something similar, and realizing what Andromeda's doing, tries not to do it in like such a synchronized way that we look like the ones who are awkward.
Start doing
We're like,
clockwork walking.
we have to do this because we're keeping a low profile, but just
Yeah.
don't look awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
So that said, you guys head in towards the bar. Are Jack and Shul following immediately, or are you guys gonna like wait a couple of beats to see what happens?
Maybe a couple of beats, and then like Shaw will kind of press down on Jack's head to push him under the doorway so that we don't make a smashing entrance into this place.
Jack
Well,
doesn't comprehend what's going on, but it feels like, okay, being pushed. Doesn't break a door.
So by the time you guys have waited a couple of beats to walk through, I would say that Andromeda and Ricky have made it to the bar. As sort of like described, there are plenty of what appear to be regulars sort of being tended to by these two barmaids who are walking around. One with this loose red hair flowing, and another with this very dark raven black tied back in a severe like braid or severe ponytail with these dark eyes, who doesn't seem to smile much, whereas the other one, while not standard bar staff affair, while not actively serving someone, could not give a shit. As soon as they're serving someone, big smile. Can I get you anything? Do you want a drink? Seems a lot more genial, but still sort of dead behind the eyes for most of the time. And you see and you can tell, or you can see behind the bar is a stout dwarf with a close-cropped beard, sort of polishing a glass. Because every time I introduce a bartender, he's polishing a glass.
I will try and like sit at the bar or stand at the bar like nonchalantly and subtly, and
You could do a thing where you go to lean in the bar and slip.
yeah. And I'll order a like a single shot of whiskey that's like horribly watered down, and then from like behind her ear, I'll like pull a little bit of moss and just like stir it in so it's like green, and then drink that.
I like to think that you've literally got an ordered a shot of whiskey that's been watered down. That's what I want.
Yeah,
Just
so
whiskey
that I
and
can
water.
put the moss in it and strengthen it up again.
Hey, course lass, here you go. Here's one iron beard rock gut and some water for you. And as you sit down, you hear a voice several seats away to your right. Cheers to the lovely lady. And you look over and Tommy's there with a pint glass full of like frothing milk.
I'm about to take a drink, and then I slightly forcefully place the drink down on the bar and just turn to the side with a death stare and just give him daggers.
Yeah.
He just cheers, just takes a big drink, puts the cup down, there's the big milk mustache.
Purposefully not drinking what you were literally about to drink so that you didn't have to cheers him is it's a big vibe.
I hate this cat.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've just decided I hate this cat. No, I do
Yeah.
know why, but
If you were to like look up and down the bar, you see Tommy on the far end, so just sat in a seat with his little boots dangling with a big mug of milk. But if you look down the other side, you see sort of like leaning back against the bar with a glass of very fine spirit by his side, probably an actual like fine whiskey, is a gentleman dressed in noble's attire, very, very well-to-do, ruffles at the throat, wearing lots of quite obviously quite expensive like, jewelry, and obviously in a little while there are people like sort of sat at tables moving around intermingling, you see people sort of moving in this rhythm, talking to one another. He has this very clear space around him where he's just left to his own devices. I would say as well, because you've approached the bar and you've like leaned on the bar, you can see directly over about a foot from the very feet of the bartender is a large trapdoor, heavy set with a lock on it.
It's gonna be tricky.
Yeah. I think if Ricky kind of sidles up to her, probably like literally has to sit on one of the stools to be able to see over the bar, as he like sits next to Andromeda, probably like looks at the trapdoor with the lock, and then looks at Andromeda like,
I'll like sidle in towards him and be like, "Psst, you pick locks?"
not the last time I checked.
Me neither.
Sorry.
Maybe we should just follow the others.
Yeah.
So speaking of, while you guys have got your drinks, let's say Jack and Shul have entered the bar, would you join them at the bar front, or would you move somewhere else in the room?
We were purposely trying to split to let them see if they could sneak, so Jack will step in, looking directly over to where his friends are, and go, and turn the other way. As
So
if
in
I
the
don't know
room-
them.
In the room, you can see like several tables all set about. You can see to the north, almost directly from where you came in, is obviously a little like alcove, a little quiet area where people can sit and have a quieter conversation. There are several sort of areas with little, what would you call them? Not alcoves, but they have like their own little barrier around them, so you can have slightly more secluded areas to sit and talk. You can see and hear, in fact, directly to the east from where you came in. You can see another room with a wide open doorway and a lot of sound of laughter and music and singing coming from that way. And as you've cast your glance over to the bar to the southwest, sort of like as you come in and turn like left and then left again, you can see a very fine sort of panel board and a very fine heavy door leading to what appears to be some sort of like not quite a meeting room, you're in a tavern, but like a quiet room that is obviously set aside with a closed door. Where would you like to go? You're just looking for a table to sit down at. Oh, and I should have said in the middle of the room, like literally in the very middle of the tavern, holding a heavy crossbow, sort of winding it up, is this man with one eye, sort of shooting at these two dummies that are directly right of you when you walk into the room.
I think Shaw will lean forwards to kind of whisper over Jack's shoulder and say, "Those idiots mentioned about the Howler. Sounded like some entertainment. Maybe we just go and hang out there."
And Jack will point over to the closed door and give it like a shrug, like,
Is there anywhere that seems to be obviously the Howler?
The Howler, you guess from their description, is probably where you can hear the music coming from, that area to the east.
Maybe we can check out the closed door later, once we get settled in.
Well, it's funny you would say
walking over.
that. Oh, go on.
I'm gonna say, walking over to where the music is. Jack is gonna do that really awkward. I'm walking to the dance floor dance.
Cab dancing.
Ooh.
Well, funny enough, as you begin to move into the room, now that all of you are inside, you do in fact hear that door to the southeast open, and a man steps out, adjusts his jacket, and you see he takes a handkerchief and like wipes away a spot of blood on the shoulder of his jacket before tucking it back into the jacket pocket. And you see he is a man like heavily scarred and pockmarked, who you would assume to be Adam the Leper. As he moves away from the door, you see two men coming out after him carrying what appears to be a rolled up carpet, which they bustle out through the front door and carry around the back of the tavern. Jack finishes cleaning off his hands, walks behind the bar, exchanges a quiet word with the dwarf behind the bar, quiet enough that even Chloe and Ricky, as close as you are, you can't hear. The dwarf nods, steps over, pulls out one key, Adam pulls out another, and they unlock the locks on the trapdoor. It's lifted, and Adam climbs down.
Does it look like the dwarf is gonna like lock it straight back up, or would there be an opening?
As soon as he's down, he lowers it, and you see Adam has stopped at the top of the rung. You assume because there's a similar lock on the other side.
I don't think there's any way we're getting in there in that gap.
This isn't Mission Impossible.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well, we've got the music. That's like half of it.
So
Can
I
I
can't
just
sing any more of that, or I'll be pulled.
Can I just turn around from the bar and just do a quick scan to make sure I can see the Chucklefuck brothers?
Yes,
still?
Now that all four of you have moved in, you can see they've moved over to like the far east, almost like ahead of where Shul and Jack are heading. And you can see they're like looking around. I'm describing this very vaguely, and then I remembered we have a map we can all see. As looking at the map, the areas I'm describing, you're currently in D1, the bar. To the southeast is D2, which is the Howler. D3 was the room you would have seen Adam the Leper just come out of. And you see the Chuckle Brothers move over this direction, ahead of Jack and Shul. And then they sort of take up a post sort of over here. Once Jack and Shul, you would be able to see them. They sort of stop over here. And you see them start to look over towards this door. Like one seems to be keeping an eye here, while the other keeps an eye on the room itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, true to the word, they're making sure they're still within eye line.
Yeah.
But, that said, moving sort of on ahead of them, Jack and Shul, you eventually make it away around the corner, the sounds of the laughter and the singing getting louder, until you find yourselves in the Howler. I say in the Howler, it's still part of the same tavern, it's just sort of separated a little bit by some of these sort of panelled walls. And inside, you see currently a elven bard woman playing a flute and dancing. She's wearing these layers and layers of flowing skirts in a multitude of colours, and her hair changes depending upon the mood of the song she's playing. Currently, she's playing something quite boisterous, so her hair is like a burning red and orange, and the patrons who are sat around here with their drinks are like stamping their feet and clapping along.
Either of the barmaids in this area?
No, the barmaids all seem to circle around the actual main bar area around D1, maybe going as far as some of the tables. But in here, you don't really see them come in here. You get the impression this is like a separate area. People come into this, and if they want to have a drink, they have to go out and get it.
Oh, terrible service.
Well, when you look over, you can quite clearly see a dwarven man sort of bandaging a finger. At his feet are several daggers, one of which has got a little spot of blood on it. You suspect it's not just music in here. And the barmaids probably keep out to avoid possible injuries.
Fair.
Party games.
Is there any like arm wrestling or anything like that going on?
How's your those?
Lows.
I rolled a 97, my guy. There are no arm wrestling going on, but you do see that man who was firing the crossbow gives it a ha-ha! And a man next to him like reaches over and you can see money exchanging hands. You guess whatever this guy is doing, there's like a wager involved.
Jack, anything take your fancy?
Jack is slowly scanning the area, and every now and then attempts to join in the clapping and stamping, but is always half a beat behind, followed by a rattle of chains.
I'm gonna roll for her to see how annoyed she is. She appreciates the effort.
Aww.
I think Shaw's just going to lean up against the wall and just kind of look like he's just chilling out, listening to music, enjoying the scenery sort of thing.
I know you were specifically asking for arm wrestling for obvious reasons. I would say there's probably like card game. Actually, there is definitely a card game going on, and sort of at the similar time to the whatever wager was going on with the crossbow, you hear a man, "Ow! Every damn time!" throws down a bunch of cards on the table, and as another man pulls a bunch of coins towards him.
Okay, well in that case, Shaw will definitely be like watching the game, not trying to indicate that he wants in, but like trying to work out. There's always someone cheating when there's a game of cards, and he's going to try and work out who and what they're doing.
Cool, I'm just trying to figure out. Cool, yeah. Give me a investigation check.
It's a 7.
You see another hand dealt out, cards exchanged. You see the man who just threw the cards, and you see he's a very like heavy built man, obviously used to like fighting more than playing cards. But you can see he's also a very unhappy man. You suspect it's not entirely because he keeps losing at cards, but you don't suspect that's helping because even as you're watching, he loses another hand and another pile of coins. But you don't see anything untowards.
I think Shaw will go over and like put his hand on the guy's shoulder and just be like, "Excuse me, sir, but it seems you're on a bit of a bad streak. Maybe you should quit while you're not too far behind."
Give me a persuasion check.
All right, this is my best start. That is a 21.
He sort of looks up with your hand on his shoulder, and you can tell his immediate response to someone touching him was to like ball up a fist, and then he looks up and up and up from a seated position and says, "Look, my luck has to turn at some point, but you're right." And he stands up from the table. Maybe a break. I'll be back to win my money back later, mates. And he sort of steps off towards the bar.
So just to be clear about Shaw, though he is a giant, he's very tall. He's quite puny for a giant. He's not muscly or built. He's just large.
I would say most people know enough about the different kinds of giants to know, regardless of how skinny you are, you're still a powerful creature.
Right. So yeah, Shaw will look up at the rest of the table and just kind of nod at them, try and get the measure of them, I guess.
You can I would say you don't even have a rule for this. They're very unhappy that the easy mark has now left the table.
I suppose Shaw will kind of nod at them and be like, "Do you want another player? I could go and source you someone."
You're not offering to play yourself. They sort of like look at each other like, "You're welcome to the table if you've got coin."
Oh, I don't really get involved in this stuff.
Well, somebody else then. Get off with you. We're here to win some coin.
Okay. He'll nod at Jack and be like, "Jack, you want in?"
Jack will shamble over and sit down. I assume Jack is slightly too big for a lot of these chairs, so it's he's basically doing like a slab squat.
Crushes.
Oh yeah.
Shaw pulls over a bench.
Just like this, like squatting down, barely making contact with us.
Yeah, one of these ones when the cards are dealt, sort of trying to read them tiny little cards, his big hands.
It's taking all of my self-control to not turn this into a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. So
I play the Dark Magician in attack mode. You've activated my trap card, Yugi. You sit down and they sort of like look you up and further up as opposed to up and down, and they sort of gesture. You see they all start like putting in coin. It's like 2 copper ante.
So I think like the objective here is to kind of just keep ourselves busy, keep ourselves like in with the crowd. We're not really trying to
You're
win.
just trying to blend
like,
in. Cool.
Yeah, and we've
In
got a
that
good
case,
view from
just-
here onto where the kitchen is, so we're just kind of
Yeah, and
in
obviously
the way.
we're not particularly worried about coin for this. So we'll say over the course of it, like, a few silvers are won, a few silvers are lost. You quite clearly get the impression these guys aren't cheating. That other guy was just very bad at cards for whatever reason. But yeah, you guys sort of mingle for a bit. While this is going on, Andromeda and Ricky.
I'll sort of turn to Ricky and like just kind of shake my head and like gesture over my shoulder like we should follow the others.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I can be quite sneaky, but I'm not very good with locks. Not ones with 2 keys.
Not any locks in general, really. Too much metal.
It's like the opposite of moss.
Exactly. See, I told you, Rick. I knew you got it, Ricky.
What's not to love about moss?
Exactly.
Let's go back to the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Did you know? Was my cool facts about my that mosses don't have roots. They can grow anywhere, just on a surface.
This is what we should do. Andromeda and Ricky should start a moss presentation in the middle of the bar.
Yeah. This is how we distract
Do you know what's
everyone.
really sad? Actually, I actually do know a fun fact about moss because I tried to like plant some in the garden. For seeding moss, you don't like seed moss. You get an existing moss plant and tear it into pieces, and then you like put it on like a wet substrate, like just like a bit of stone with some like moisture, keep it moist until it like grows a little bit, and then you just like put those in different spots in the garden and it grows. Or at least theoretically it should, if you don't try and do this on one of the hottest weeks of the year and immediately kill all of it.
All right, folks, D&D's over. This is a moss show.
Yeah.
Moss
Yeah.
Appreciation Society.
You know what's funny? On the last one of these that I hosted, we ended up finishing off about the last 15 minutes talking about the hedgehogs that I foster, so I just derail all of these.
Well, that's not helping.
So
Now I'm
share
picturing
some photos
hedgehogs
later.
playing in moss. So
Yeah.
No, remember, it died. The moss died.
yeah.
To wrench it back on track, I think
Yes.
unless there's anything Ricky wants to do, we're basically just waiting for the signal from the chucklefucks.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you just staying at the bar?
Yeah, I don't want to draw too much attention, really.
Mm.
So I might have a look around and see. Obviously, we've got the gentleman thief guy in the corner, and the people
Yeah.
behind the bar and everything. Just sort of glance around from where we are and see if there's anybody else that looks. Specifically, if there's anyone else that looks like we should probably stay away from them if we want to keep our heads down.
Yep. As you're looking around, you actually see that fella. It's probably about this time when Shul and Jack actually like, move over to that other table, and you see Shul have a word with this guy and him sort of stand up, throw his cards down, and make his way out into the main bar. And it's about this time you see the one-eyed fella with the crossbow. Whatever wager he's done won. Now just practicing, you see him drawing back the crossbow, aims it at the dummy, fires, but through some weird twist of luck and fate, the crossbow bolt clips off the edge of the dummy, flies off at an angle, hits a nail in one of the nails in the wall, fires back, catches one of the trays that the barmaids are handling, knocks it upward so that one of the bottles flies up into the air and then just smashes onto the head of the guy who stood up from the table and who just stands there. The barmaid who this happened to went, or the barmaid who this happened to said, "Sorry, Hogan. Let me get you the towel again.
Do I spy a
It's
bad
fine,
luck
I'm coming
curse?
your way." And he comes and sort of stands by you at the bar while the barmaid fishes out one of the bar towels for him to dry himself off with.
This poor guy.
Mm.
But yeah, so is the plan now just to wait until you're given the signal?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I
Unless
think
there's anything else.
every now and again I'll probably like try and quite inconspicuously just like turn around and look at the chuckle fucks. I am going to keep calling them the chuckle fucks.
Well, that's their names now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still doing as promised. They're keeping an eye out. I'd also like to point out that I've put you guys in a tavern with no fewer than 4 interesting NPCs that I have described. And you have not spoken
It's true.
to any of them.
Keeping a low profile.
Yeah. I think if Ricky and I don't want to speak for Andromeda, but I think if Ricky had literally seen like the string of bad luck that this guy had with cards as well, he probably would have been more tempted to like explore this, or at the very least try and
Win
be
some
like,
coin.
is this guy like fucked? Does this guy just have like a really bad luck curse charm? Yeah.
In my defense, I can't fucking talk.
Which is very fair. But yeah, you guys hang about, the people move around, you see the fellow who's covered in the water, or the water, whatever it was in the bottle, sits at the bar, sort of forlornly drinking, just a couple of seats down from you. At some point, I'm sure one of you would look back up the bar to find that Tommy has once again just vanished, almost as if into thin air. It takes a little bit of time, but eventually you notice the 2 Chucklefuck brothers sort of perk up. You're all sort of saying that you're watching these, watch them perk up, and you see they sort of like, again, sort of nonchalantly sort of trying to lean on the wall, or on a, like a sort of leaning back to that, and you eventually see a table near them, near this sort of doorway that you could spot. All together get up and head out of the bar, at which point one sort of leans around the corner to have a look, nods, and the other looks over at all of you guys and starts tapping the side of his nose.
I think
It's
if
go
that's
time.
if that's not our signal, then I don't know what is.
Itchy nose.
I'd like to sort of lead Ricky on a sort of very slow meandering wander around the bar until we find a nice dark corner where we can cast our respective stealthy spells and not be noticed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to see if there's somewhere where I can just casually disappear.
I'll say, sure. Well, I'm not going to each roll for this. Because I did describe that there's like specifically some areas that are designed to not be disturbed and seen. You managed to work your way into one of them. Just out of curiosity, because obviously Andromeda, was it Pass Without Trace you were going to cast?
Yes, so that will also affect Ricky if he's near
Yeah.
me as well.
And
gives a
Ricky, are you
+10
wanting to
stealth.
use an invisibility ability?
I'm just checking how long it lasts because I don't think it's the spell.
It's an hour, isn't it?
It's
Or
just
10 minutes?
because it's not the spell. It just says use a bonus action to
Oh.
become invisible until you attack or cast a spell or your concentration ends, as though you were concentrating on a spell. While invisible, you leave no evidence and cannot be tracked except by magical means. And I can just do that once every long rest. I think, to be honest, if you're without trying to, tempt fate too much, I think if you're casting Pass Without a Trace, I might be
might be
all
okay.
right. Yeah, I'd like to think I will be. I also have the Cloak
Cool.
of Elvenkind, so I do have advantage on stealth checks.
Yeah. In that
Pretty
case,
sure
you're
that only
probably gonna
works
be
in the
fine.
forest, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The taverns are mostly made of wood.
Yes, very true.
It's a forest of a kind. I have a
I
lot
could
of
be.
moss.
I might be thinking of boots of Elvenkind.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did make sure to bring up the description of it, just in case. It is
So,
literally just
the interesting
stealth
thing.
checks.
Yeah, cool. Here's the interesting thing. Pass Without Trace does not make you invisible. It just like
no.
obscures you in shadow and stuff. So you guys are going to have to try and now move stealthily through the bar so that a bunch of people don't look over and go, those people are really shady. Literally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, we are. It's all fine.
But you have what, plus 10 or whatever ridiculous number it
It's-
is from
yeah.
Pass Without Trace.
Plus 10. Absolutely.
So if you
But-
two want to make that now while you're making your way over, I would say Shul and Jack, you probably see the finger on the nose. You probably look over at those two and they maybe wink or indicate, we're going to go over here and cast a spell. But do you two just get up and follow your hostages?
Yeah, I think Shaw will kind of tap Jack on the shoulder and be like, "I think that's enough now, mate. It's time to head. Thank you, gentlemen, for the game. It was a pleasure watching."
In stark
anytime
contrast,
you spend.
in a stark contrast to Andromeda taking a convoluted, weaving path, Jack is going to walk in as straight a line as possible, even stopping and physically moving a table out of his way if he needs to.
Oh, I
Not
like to
breaking
imagine you
it,
had to
he's learning.
I like to imagine
I
you
was
had to
gonna
get,
say,
into the
that's-
booth for this, so you just pick the
Progress.
table you're sitting at up and just walk out with it.
Yeah, I
was
think
gonna
Sean
say-
has specifically chosen this end of the pub because this is where the clearest path to the kitchen is. So if
Yeah.
that's where we're going, there's fewer people and tables and obstacles to destroy.
Yeah. You move the table. You two move towards the two thieves. What were our stealth checks from Andromeda and Ricky?
It's a dirty 20.
I got a 30.
Fucking hell. Yeah, you two managed to like move along the walls where the guttering like torches don't quite shed enough light, and move through the dancing shadows as people move across and move through the bar, and you managed to make it around without alerting any suspicion. The two hostages, in air quotes, I'm gonna keep calling them that, see obviously Jack and Shul approach. Do Andromeda and Ricky make them aware that you're here, or are Jack and Shul gonna have to convince them to go on without the two of you?
Well, I thought we'd already kind of. Oh, yeah, because we did say we might go the other way, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'll
Also
throw
Just
some-
because they can't see you, so like they need, would you make them aware that you're here, or would you just wait for Shul and Jack to be like, no, let's go?
I'm just going to get real close to Shul and just, like, throw a bit of moss at his face so he knows it's me.
I think I
the
think at the same time I'll probably just like tug on Shul's like sleeve or something like that. You know, just like a child does when they want attention. Just be like,
Ah, the other sign.
So I think regardless of whether Shaw actually realizes, he's just going to say to the chuckle fucks that no, it's all good. It's let's assume they've got it in hand, and we'll just go ahead.
Right. As you guys look around, you realize that in the position you are now, with those people who have moved away from that table, you're in such a position that once this door opens, you're pretty much going to be completely obscured from most of the bar. So the two of them move forward. One goes to open the door. The other sort of looks into the kitchen and sort of leans back and says, "Just don't let Cook see you." And they open the door. And it's just like a standard set of stairs. You can actually see, once you get to the top of the stairs, it just leads down to like a storage room. Everyone who goes past can make me a perception check.
that's a nat one.
8.
15!
16!
With the 15 and 16, as you guys move through the doorway down the stairs, you just hear, "Oh, I fucking hate soup so much. I want to make anything but soup. Does nobody around here not know how to make anything but soup?" It just trails off as you make your way down the stairs.
Oh,
Go give him some moss.
Just drop some moss in the soup then. No.
wow.
You guys make your way down the stairs and find yourself stood in the middle of a storeroom. I also just realised I haven't given any of your tokens vision. That's why the screen looks dark.
This map's a bit dark.
I've also just realised that John doesn't technically have a character, so this is going to be... I'm going to fix this for next week. Yeah, there's no way I can fix that quickly. Oh no, hold on. I think I can know what I can do. Let's just grab him. I'll put this in control of...
I have a slight might have a slight problem with the stealthing idea if it is dark in here.
Oh, it is
Have
very...
dark
Yes, it is
vision.
very much dark.
Oh no.
I can't see a thing.
Oh no, sorry, tell I. It's actually not dark in this room. I have to assign your tokens as having, like, I have to turn vision on.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
right,
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Phew. Phew.
I'm hoping John is about to be hopefully assigned a character. Oh,
Just the way that one of the chuckle fucks was like, just don't let Cook see you, and just avoided mentioning the existential darkness.
don't worry about the fact that you can't see.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Just
Just
one
don't
foot in
let
front
Cook
of the
know
other.
you're here.
Yeah.
So
If they
hopefully
can't,
if John's
if we can't see them, they can't see us.
I was about to say. Ricky with this childlike wonderment of the world.
There we go. Even if John can't see, the rest of you should now be able to see the storeroom. Because this is where we're going to get into actually using the tokens. Oh, hold on. I know why John still can't see. Because I have to assign the character. There we go. That should update in a second, I hope. If not, I'll just describe the room for the rest of you. You find yourself standing in a fairly standard storeroom for a tavern. There are kegs in the wall, racks and racks of bottles, crates and barrels full of food pressed against the walls. But apparently no other way in or out. You're stood in this room with just these two, again, hostages. And as you sort of step in, taking in your bearings, the room lit by several torches on shelves or sitting on top of barrels. One of them moves towards what appears to be an otherwise unadorned section of wall, reaches into his pocket and pulls out a coin, and presses it into a little indentation on the wall, and then the section of the wall pushes in and slides backwards, revealing the underground lair of the Wolves Head Thieves Guild.
Ooh.
Oh, it's
But
dark.
that is where we're going to leave the session for this week.
Cool.
So, I hope you guys have enjoyed that. And before we go anywhere else, I have to do a quick shout out for the upcoming shows, and then we're going to get everyone here to talk about their own stuff again. So, this is obviously the first part of the Tales for True. We have the second part coming Friday, October 6th. Then following that, this Thursday, upcoming Thursdays, pretty much every Thursday for the next few weeks, we have the continuing, John, help me out here, continuing Visid Delta Green campaign, run by our lovely John. On October 13th, we have the second part. I'm really good at this, I promise. On October 13th, we have the second part of our Pirate Org campaign. Pirates in post-apocalyptic gothic. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, love it. I just love anything with pirates in it. Coming October 20th, we have a Lovecraft-esque, which is really fun to say quickly. Second edition, which is, I believe, currently running on its Kickstarter. I should just let you do this. Starting its Kickstarter, we have the creator running the game on our stream with some of the amazing AP UK cast members. Phenomenal. For the audience, you can't hear John correcting me when I ask these weird leading questions, so it just sounds like I'm talking to myself. October 27th, just in time for Halloween, we have a Final Girl stream going out. I'm actually kind of excited to watch that. I heard a lot of really good things about Final Girl, but never seen it played or got to play it, so I'm excited to see that happen. And then October 30th and 31st, we have Shiver coming. These are all going to be fantastic show, guys, so please do come and give them a watch and make sure to follow all the people involved. That's why we do this at AP UK. We're here to boost the amazing talent here in the UK. And what better segue than to talk about some of the amazing talent we've had here tonight. So going around the table again in the same order as last time, Chloe, tell us about yourself and the stuff you're doing.
Hi, I'm Chloe. You can find me at Chloe_with_the_flow pretty much everywhere. I am on the podcast Deck of Many Aces, which is an actual play podcast made with actual asexuals and aromantics, where I play a bard who's also a rogue and is definitely not a warlock. I also write all of the music for that show as well, which you can find on Spotify and YouTube, all of that jazz. I'm also on the podcast A Rendezvous with Destiny, which is a Bite Marks actual play podcast where we all play werewolves that are really good werewolves and terrible human beings. I will shortly be on Bowie's and Spelljammer, which comes out in the middle of October, where we're all playing different versions of David Bowie, but in space, and it's crazy. And I play the Goblin King, because of course I do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I also stream on Twitch 3 times a week. I always forget something. You'd think, the amount of times I do this, and I always forget something.
Well, funny enough, the one thing we both forgot is that Chloe was on a recent charity event stream that was run by Dark, who did professional GMing through. We're going to be hosting another sort of smaller series of these charity streams. Chloe will be in the game I'll be running. There'll be more details of that coming soon. We'll be boosting all of those streams through the AP UK, but take a look at Dark to get a full list of those when they're all announced. But other than that, let's move along to Bardic, our very quiet ogre.
For someone who can't talk, I seem to talk a lot. But hi, I'm Bardic. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all as the Bardic Knock. I haven't been doing anything super active because I'm tired and very lazy, and moving 600 miles was apparently really exhausting.
Who would have thought?
It's wild. Didn't expect it. But in the relatively short-term future, as soon as I'm more settled and have made more space for it, I'm going to hopefully get back into streaming more stuff. A mixture of tabletop role-playing games, old games I have hyper fixations on, and because I have a prop nearby, if I can grab it blindly, and also crafting streams, so stuff like this, which is nothing at the moment, but it's going to be a house. And
This white box I made.
well, considering it was some foam board, it's a good start. I can't turn the camera because there's a bunch of laundry over there, but there's a whole bunch of like terrain and little houses and rocks and trees. It's like, yeah, I'll maybe do them. And
Amazing.
I think there is a well-painted miniature here and stuff like that little dude. So probably going to stream that. And hey, you know what? Monetize your hobbies. I'll also paint stuff if people want to pay me to do that, because I got nothing else going on. So that's me.
Want to monetize their hobby, says the professional DM. But lovely, thank you very much. Next, Chris, tell us about yourself, what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I play on the Adventurers Anonymous actual play podcast as Tatty Bojangles, the wonderful sad boy gnome ranger rogue with a bunch of problems. Come listen, come find out what all his problems are. We just recorded our 100th episode where we got into a dragon fight. And absolutely did not underestimate the dragon fight at all.
How could you underestimate a dragon?
Yeah, it gets a little bit wild. It gets a little bit goofy. But yeah, come join us for some improvised fantasy fuck nuggetry.
Amazing. And finally, Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. Ben Newbon on Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. I'm a game designer, so I make rules-like games, including Overgrown and Cybertopia. Cybertopia, which I am also hosting a actual play podcast for. You can find it anywhere you find podcasts. We're coming up to the finale of that, so if you've not listened, you've got some time to catch up. It's a wild ride with 16 players and lots of stuff going on. It's a ridiculous task I've set myself on that one. I also play D&D and Blades in the Dark on his Cursedness channel on Twitch occasionally. We're currently doing a West Marches campaign where I play an entire family of dwarfs. So that's lots of fun. It's kind of intermittently hosted, so yeah, pop along for that sometimes. Sometimes I'm DMing on that as well, which is good fun. So yeah, that's all the things.
I think from the look on Chris's the look of Chris's reaction there, he had the same question I had, which is how? A family of dwarves? How?
I only
Yeah.
play one at a time.
Oh,
I've got currently 3 different active characters, and there's another 18 members of the family who can come in and out as I need. Currently, the dad, who was my first character, is cursed to go to hell. So at some point, he'll be dropping out for a while, and the rest of the family's going to go and rescue him, probably.
Yeah, and then you'll only have 17 to play.
yeah. But the important question I feel like everyone is thinking is, do they all have like a single name that sort of encapsulates their entire personality?
They
You know,
all
like
have
happy or dopey or
they all have vaguely themed names. The dad is Aegis, who his whole thing is being a protection fighter. So he
very
does
nice.
shields and stuff.
I love a name pun. Well, that all sounds amazing. People were taking the mick in the break about how much I do. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
And of course, I have been the DM for this evening. I am Jordan. Wish I was a bard on most of my own personal socials. I am the DM, editor, and producer for the Modified Role podcast, the favoritist professional DM you've never heard of, and also the founder of Actual Play UK, alongside, of course, who I have to always just sing his praises, John, who came along and said he wanted to turn it into more than just a Discord and make this wonderful stream, which would not exist without his continual efforts. And yeah, John, every time, cannot thank you enough. I'm always super impressed with all the like, see all of this that you're looking at around me now, all of this lovely template. John does all of this. I just like mod the Discord a little bit. He does even know all this, like all the organizations for the stream. I literally don't have words for it. He does all that plus all of his own stuff as well on top of that. So thank you, John, and I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say that he still can't be heard by the rest of you. He just chimed in to say he needs to sleep, which he isn't allowed to do. He has to get the rest of the streams ready.
He knows
That was
that.
the
He knows he's not allowed to sleep.
He has to go back to the mines.
The streaming minds. But yeah, once again, this wouldn't be the stream without him, and I think everyone can agree. It looks fantastic. It always looks fantastic. And of course, just finally, I already said thank you to all of them, but again, with John putting it all together, this thing could look as lovely as whatever. It wouldn't matter if we didn't have amazing talent turning up. So again, the whole point of this is to introduce you guys out there, you guys in the future, coming from us in the past, still not dropping the bit, to remind you to go and check these guys out if you haven't yet. Check out all of their channels, check out all of the work they're creating, check out all the games they're designing, and not just on this stream, but on every stream we've put out, on all the streams coming. There are so many amazing people in the UK TTRPG space, and we want to make sure that you are watching them. That's right, you out there in the future, go and watch these guys if the world hasn't ended by Friday. And on that note, I'm just going to remind everyone that the weather is getting a little bit colder. If you find a hedgehog in your garden, you can put food out for them, but it has to be wet cat or dog food, and you can't give them milk because that makes them sick. But that's all from us here tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jordan. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.